What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
8AC, Chapter 131, The Power of the World's #1 Man. Please subscribe. Advertisement. Okay, today, I'll sell your face. Lei Luo. The voice sounded, and the voice was not loud but was clearly heard by every strong person present. Behind Lei Luo, the pirate queen Boa Hancock's white palm suddenly covered half of her red lips, her heart tightened suddenly as if being grabbed by a pair of invisible hands. Selling Lei Luo to save face. This is considered, red-haired Shanks, compromise with Lei Luo. Akainu Sakazuki was stunned on the deck as if struck by lightning, his brain was buzzing. I just heard what? Incomparable astonishment and shock surged in Akainu's eyes, as if 1,000 caddies of explosives were dropped in a puddle of water, setting off a huge wave. Everyone knows that only others sell red-haired Shanks' face, no one dares to let red-haired Shanks sell face. But just now, he heard with his own ears that red-haired Shanks wants to sell Lei Luo's face. What is happening? Incomparable astonishment swept through Akainu's heart, but a thought in his mind became extremely clear. Times have changed, the waves behind are empty, and the waves before are smashing to the ground, this world may be turned upside down. Akainu turned his head and entered the cabin without saying a word, and the sliver of sobriety and reason still told him that this news must be reported to the higher authorities immediately, without any delay. Aokiji was still on the deck in a daze, as if he had turned into an immovable ice sculpture, holding tightly the hand that crushed the ship's side, but he didn't realize that the wood slag from the broken ship's side had already penetrated into his flesh. His eyes fell on the figure in a neat suit, with a white handmade origami flower pinned to his chest, and a black emperor's cloak. At this moment, that figure seemed to be the center of the whole world. He was obviously a user of cold air, but at this moment, he felt a slight chill from that tall figure. Just standing there makes me feel cold all over my body. Among the 3 Marine Admirals, the only calm one is Kizaru. He is the oldest existence among the 3 Marine Admirals. He has witnessed the fall of One Piece Roger, the rise of Aokiji and Akainu, and the strongest man in the world. The fall of Whitebeard Edward Newgate. It's just the birth of a new emperor, so it's not worth making a fuss, right? Kizaru tried his best to recall the major events he had witnessed in his life, and kept comparing the Lei Luo in front of him with those legendary level powerhouses. Only in this way could he suppress the shock and horror in his heart, and be able to sustain Marine Admiral's presence. Order the whole army. Return. There was no trace of laziness in Kizaru Pelusolino's voice. Quote. Exclamation mark quote. Meanwhile, Redhead Shanks jumped onto Redfirth too. Looking at Lei Luo on the pier below, Shanks continued to maintain the demeanor that a sea emperor should have. The sea is wide and the sky is high, there will be a period later. Advertisement. Lei Luo cupped his fists and said with a smile, go slowly. Shanks. No. Turning his head, the red-haired Shanks' face was instantly gloomy, and Ben Beckman, Yisabu and others who were familiar with him were all terrified. There is no Conqueror's overflow, and there is no tyrannical aura spreading on the ship, but at this moment, there is an extremely depressing dead silence on the planet Ladfirth. Many cadres are very clear that Lei Luo's arrogant attitude has completely angered their boss, the red-haired Shanks. And Shanks' revenge is always silent. In the next moment, Shanks looked at the Emperor's deputy Ben Beckman with a dark gaze, and said coldly, contact all the pirate groups under your command, and the non-affiliated countries that are not recognized by the world's government. In 3 days, gather all the forces and gather at the location waiting for confirmation. Yes. Ben Beckman agreed with a serious face, and then asked, the business of blank paper flowers in our territorial waters. Shanks smiled sullenly. It's business as usual, keep those chambers of commerce for now, I'm useful. Clear. Ben Beckman went down to do things vigorously, and Shanks said to the crowd, it's all gone, go back. After giving orders to everyone, Shanks returned to the cabin, in his own room, brushed his hands over the 3 claw-like scars on his face, then dug out the phone bug and number book in the drawer, and found a number with the suffix, G. Only landline bugs on marine warships will use G as a number suffix. Through this number, you can contact the warship that Marine lost during the Whitebeard extermination battle, the warship that was abducted by Blackbeard. Lei Luo, I said before, you can't eat this piece of fat, and you can easily choke to death. In the blink of an eye, the Redfirth and the 3 warships started to move together, and gradually sailed away from the Sea of Nations. Lei Luo was relieved for a while. This time, he slapped the red-haired Shanks in the face in public. With this guy's sinister and ambiguous personality, he might be able to play tricks behind his back. Now it can be regarded as the initial occupation of Charlotte's Big Mother's territory, and the relationship between him and the red-haired Shanks is also developing in an increasingly subtle and ambiguous direction. As for directly tearing the skin off, that's not enough, otherwise the red-haired Shanks will never retreat. But, once some cracks appear, they will only continue to expand and become bigger and bigger. 0. Ask for flowers. Advertisement. In addition, since the sovereignty of this Sea of Nations has been sworn in, and the red-haired Shanks and Marine are helping to promote it, there will definitely be troubles to face in the future. Hee, Shanks, no matter what relationship you have with the world government, I will only get stronger and stronger. Stronger than you can imagine. A sneer twitched at the corner of Lei Luo's mouth, so come on, since he dares to take over this territory, he will never be afraid of these so-called troubles. Suddenly, the system interface in front of him pops up, and a line of small characters dwang that only he can see pops up. Congratulations to host for completing the mission and including the IGMOM's Seas of All Nations. Get the mission reward. Attribute points plus 1000. The corner of Lei Luo's mouth curved slightly. It seemed that Bullet and the others had planted flags all over the Seas of All Nations. 0. As soon as I thought about it, I dropped all the freshly baked 1000 attribute points on the progress bar of Armament Haki, and the system interface flickered and changed. Armament Haki level. Extreme Armament. Absolute Domain, 3949 10,000ths. The real ultimate exists in infinite promotion. You have taken a big step towards the new ultimate. Please continue to move towards the real ultimate. Close black lens bracket. In the next moment, roar. A loud and high-pitched sound of dragon chant resounded in the body, and a familiar hotness quickly spread out from the spine, flowed through the Ren meridian, passed through the Du meridian, and the fiery heat rushed directly between Ren and Du's two meridians, the bridge of heaven and earth. There is a fiery passion floating in the eyes of the loud and bright. Come on, the new Armament Haki realm. At the same time, the white paper flower sea area, which is far away from the sea area of all nations, is above the hinterland of Ness's island. The 216th round of gunfire salvo, fully charged, launch. Boom. Boom 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 boom. Cannon fire raged all over the sky, and the hot barrel spewed out flames, but what was fired was not a shell, but a laser beam composed of charged particles, which could easily penetrate steel. The laser beams keep shooting up into the sky, bombarding Kaido of the beasts in the form of a dragon over Ness's island like dense raindrops. The strange thing is, Kaido of the beasts, the strongest creature in the sea, land and air can only twist his body to avoid it, and the dense laser raindrops smash his tough scales from time to time, splashing blood. Vice Admiral his Bazonglong Dongchen. Kaido's face turned into a dragon head was frowning, astonished, aggrieved, hesitant, unwilling, all kinds of emotions were constantly changing on his face. Again, advertisement. Chapter 132. Aggrieved Kaido and shocked Sengoku. Please subscribe. Advertisement. I wanted to take advantage of Lei Luo's absence to take advantage of him, but I never expected that this battle would be so aggrieved and angry. No wonder Lei Luo dared to leave only a few rotten fish and rotten shrimps, and attack Charlotte Linlin's sea area of all nations. It turns out that there is such a fierce and powerful firepower hidden. The black gun barrels are spread in almost every corner of the Beizihua Sea area. With every salvo, the laser beams come from all directions. The guy with 8 mechanical octopus legs is very strange. Every time the shelling uses different positions when the cannon fires, the position cannot be calculated at all, and effective dodge cannot be performed. Every time, at least 3 to 5 laser beams will be hit. What's more terrible is that the laser light emitted by these strange cannons is actually more aggressive than Kizaru with sparkling fruit. 2 or 3 consecutive hits can break his strong dragon scales and penetrate his body. If it is not for its own strong recovery ability, I am afraid it has already been beaten into a sieve. But the most annoying thing is not these, but that he can't attack at all. Dozens of previous attack attempts have proved it with iron and steel. The energy shield under 323 will absorb the physical impact and elemental energy of his attack, and cannot be broken at all. The more powerful the attack, the opponents the stronger the firepower. He, Kaido of the Beasts, has never fought such an aggrieved battle in his life, even when he was attacked by 3 Marine Admirals, Garp, and Sengoku when he broke into naval headquarters, he has never been so aggrieved before. Originally, he wanted to exhaust the opponent's firepower, but who knew that the opponent's firepower seemed to be infinite. After being bombarded continuously for 2 or 3 hours, the opponent's firepower was not exhausted, but he was injured more and more seriously. Next second, the 217th round of gunfire salvo, fully charged, launch. The Kaido of the Beasts in the sky had just fired a round of salvo, and before they had time to take a breather, the lasers that were as dense as raindrops shot into the sky again. Rao is Kaido of the Beasts. At this moment there is also a look of horror in his eyes. Damn it, why are the volleys of these strange cannons getting faster and faster? Cannot be done. God knows how much firepower they have in reserve. It has been consumed for so long, and although the injury is not fatal, it is getting worse and worse. If it continues to consume, the possibility of being consumed to death is not out of the question. All kinds of thoughts flashed through Kaido of the Beasts' mind, and when they stopped, a dragon roar resounded over the island of Nessus. You little bastards of Lei Luo. You'd better stay on this broken island for the rest of your life. If you are met outside by Laozi, you will definitely be skinned and torn apart to vent Laozi's anger today. The sound is getting farther and farther away, gradually disappearing. On Nessus island below, Hexia Jinbei, Murloc Namuel, Speedokir and others stared at Floy beside him in a daze. Kaido of the Beasts, retired. The 14th Division Captain Speedokir had a look of disbelief floating in his eyes. That is the undead Kaido of the Beasts, the strongest creature in the sea, land and air. Looking at the entire white paper flower pirates, except for Captain Lei Luo, there is no one who can deal with the peerless savages. What is the origin of this Floyd brother who suddenly appeared? How powerful? Advertisement. Gu, Murloc Namur, the captain of the 8th Division, swallowed his saliva unconsciously, and then said in a trembling voice. It should be said that the ones that Captain Lei Luo takes a fancy to are all absolute fierce men. He knows this Floy, a scientist under Captain Lei Luo, a weirdo who spends all day in the laboratory. But he never thought that a guy who has never practiced and spent all day in the laboratory is so powerful, even Kaido of the Beasts can beat back. Too strong, too terrifying, even guys as strong as Marco and Ace, I'm afraid they can only be beaten up against this Frankenstein Floyd. The horror in Jinbei's heart was like 1,000 waves surging. He thought that under Captain Lei Luo, Bullet was the strongest. A true second force. Those strange laser cannons are so powerful that they can force Kaido to defend instead of attack. If this firepower can equip part of the Fishmen Island, the tragedy of the Katakuri invasion day will never happen again. Compared to Jinbei and others, Karina, Silver Fox, White Snake and other 4 attendants are much calmer. They have known Floyd's details for a long time, and they also know Floyd's secret arrangements in the entire White Paper Flower Sea area. Ever since Akainu raided his lair last time, Floyd has been secretly deploying these firepower. Under the transcendent power, science is the #1 weapon. I dare not say anything else, as long as in this sea of white paper flowers, in this laser cannon array, no one is an opponent of Floyd except Lei Luo. He is not just a scientist, is a crazy guy who has researched such a horrible thing like pure gold with a few broken and incomplete materials. At this time, Floyd seemed to lose all strength, and sat down on the ground, with a trace of fear surging in the eye sockets covered with dark circles. And the next moment, click. There was a slight cracking sound in the air, and everyone looked up at the sky unconsciously. Instantly shattered, Karina's face turned pale in an instant, and the broken protective cover and Floyd's death strength made her suddenly realize something. If Kaido of the Beast spends just a few more moments, the consequences will be disastrous. Before I knew it, I walked in front of the gate of life and death again. Floyd raised his head, and on his obviously pale face was a smile that looked like he was alive after a catastrophe, and he smiled at everyone. Fortunately, life is not disgraceful. And at the same time when Kaido of the Beasts failed to steal the house and was forced to retreat, Naval Headquarters in Marineford, in the Gardener's office. Blue. Sengoku, who has not yet taken off the title of acting marshal, picks up the phone. Bug. I am acting marshal Sengoku. What? Advertisement. Sengoku, who had just said a word, suddenly stood up from the seat. Shock, astonishment, and disbelief instantly swept through his body. On the side, Garp the Fist, whose hair had obviously turned 3 degrees grayer since the Whitebeard extermination war, asked. It's been a long time since I saw old buddy Sengoku panic like this. But Sengoku, as if he didn't hear Garp's words, listened to the report from the phone. Bug. His face became more and more ugly, and his brows became more and more wrinkled. Finally, Sengoku said, I got it. You should withdraw as soon as possible, and don't stay in New World. After finishing speaking, Sengoku sat down on the chair with a very slumped expression. His eyes were blank in a daze. What's the matter with you, Sengoku? Are you sick? What happened? Garp brought a cup of hot tea over and set it in front of Sengoku. Hiss. The white-haired Sengoku took a deep breath. Sakazuki came to report that the battle between the White Paper Flower Pirates and the BIGMOM Pirates finally ended with Charlotte Linlin's death on the spot, and the entire BIGMOM Pirates were almost wiped out. What? Garp stood up suddenly. A look of astonishment covered his old face instantly, and the senbei in his hand was directly crushed into powder. How can this be? Can Lei Luo kill that crazy old Charlotte Linlin? What a joke. Although Lei Luo is extremely talented, his accomplishments and progress in Armament Haki are extremely high and extremely fast. 3.4, but how old is he? Only 24 years old. And Charlotte Linlin, that old crazy woman, is over 60 years old, has been immersed in Conqueror's Haki and Soul Fruit for at least 40 years, and is older than Lei Luo. Even if Lei Luo has been practicing since his mother's womb, how could he possibly be the opponent of Charlotte's crazy woman? According to Lei Luo's strength during the Whitebeard extermination campaign, he is now a quasi-emperor. Whether he can beat Katakuri of the BIGMOM Pirates is another matter. Before Garp could fully digest this information, Sengoku went on to say, after the battle between the White Paper Flower and BIGMOM, the Red Hair Pirates came to the scene. The red-haired Shanks fought against the armed natural disaster Lei Luo twice, neither in the end. I sold my face to Lei Luo. Is this little guy on the hook? Let him continue to grow stronger. I'm afraid it will be difficult for Marine to control him, and I'm afraid even this old man. Before the words fell, Garp slumped down on the chair, his eyes were blank, and there was nothing but astonishment and horror left. Advertisement. Chapter 133. Lei Luo and Mr. Octopus, one must die. Please subscribe. Advertisement. Looking at the photos taken by Akainu in the Sea of 10,000 Nations sent by Akainu through the fax phone. Bug, the marshal's office fell into a deathly silence. In the middle of the desk is the scene where Lei Luo and the red-haired Shanks confront each other for the last time. There are 5.5 footprints in front of Lei Luo, and 7 full footprints in front of the red-haired Shanks. This is enough to show that Lei Luo's strength is no longer inferior to the red-haired Shanks, the veteran 4 emperors, and can even overwhelm Shanks. And there are many more of the incredible photos on the table. For example, the 4 emperors BIGMOM whose left arm was removed and a huge transparent hole was blasted out of its stomach, the cake castle that collapsed into ruins, and the white paper flower skull flag inserted on the cake island. It's too scary. This Lei Luo is too scary, whether it's strength or the speed at which his strength progresses so fast, it makes people feel trembling. A few months ago, he was obviously a man who could even fight Aokiji with Tree's strong kid. After a long time, Sengoku digested the 2 important news and looked at Garp. Help me run an errand. What? Garp asked, looking up. Tell Guion that I've approved her application. You can go there yourself and send her to Vegapunk's laboratory. Are you crazy? Garp stood up and glared at the old buddy Sengoku. Didn't you see what happened to the Barcelona bear? You want to kill her? Since the surprise attack on Ness's island, Momoshiki Gion has been abolished. He was hooked through his luteal bone, and can no longer hold a sword. His own strength has fallen below Vice Admiral, and he lives in a very low mood every day. But if she is sent to that mad scientist in Vegapunk, that Bartholomew Bear who gradually lost his humanity and became a puppet as a living example. Sengoku took a deep breath. Then can you understand the pain of a swordsman who can no longer hold his sword? After a moment of silence, Sengoku continued. This is Gion's own wish, and we have no right to stop it. Lei Luo won Bigmom's territory, and it has become a climate. The New World and even the entire sea will cause huge waves because of him. However, the World Recruitment Program currently only recruits 2 people who meet the conditions. We need the power of Gion. A brand new Gion. Garp sat silent. Sengoku sighed and said, go ahead, you can see her off, I'm at ease. Garp left without saying a word, and Sengoku also took out the exclusive phone bug that can contact the powers. How to deal with this matter is beyond the scope of his decision. And in the room of power that symbolizes the highest power in the world. Advertisement. The 5 elders are laughing and laughing at the news from Morgans, the head of the news agency a few hours ago. The balding 5 elders in a dark green suit couldn't help trembling with the fat on his face. Great, great. It's worth all our painstaking planning, these pirates are finally starting to bite dogs. Hey, Lei Luo attacked Bigmom's 10,000 nations sea area, and Kaido turned around and attacked Lei Luo's white paper flower sea area. Well, they had a great fight. The long-bearded 5 elders in a dark blue suit tapped on the armrest of the seat with his fingers, and the joy in his eyes couldn't be concealed. Kaido is really good at timing. This stupid guy Lei Luo came out on the front foot, and Kaido took Lei Luo's nest on the back foot. And, according to Morgans, Lei Luo slapped Kaido in the face during the enthronement ceremony. So much this time must have taken revenge with a strong sense of revenge. Lei Luo took away the elite of the lair, and the remaining 3 melons, what can they do to stop the vengeful Kaido? The fall of the white paper flower sea region is inevitable. 5 elders, the youngest with a golden beard, rubbed his golden beard. This Lei Luo is really too old, young and aggressive. I didn't know that this guy was beaten by Bigmom and went back in disgrace, and found that his old den was beaten. What kind of expression will Kaido make when it is disassembled? I really want to see it with my own eyes, ha ha ha. Let's fight. They are fighting with each other, and we are the fishermen. It is best to kill them all. In that way, this chaotic era of big pirates can be ended, and this will also be a huge milestone in our history. Achievement. Wait, I believe it won't be long before the news of the fall of the white paper flower sea area will come. The 5 elders in black leaned back on the chair in a senile manner, and said the old god. The only bald guy who didn't speak and quietly wiped his knife also had a happy expression on his face. Bang bang. As soon as the voice fell, the door between the powers was knocked. Come in. The door opened, and a CP intelligence agent came in with a faxed document. The news agency director, Morgans, has the latest news from the white paper flower sea area. After speaking, the CP intelligence agent respectfully exited the door. 5 elders in black glanced at 5 elders with a golden beard. Nyen nyen. 5 elders with the golden beard immediately picked up the file. Among the 5 elders, his status was the lowest. In front of the other 4 elders, he was just a younger brother. Quote. Advertisement. The file was opened, and 5 elders, the golden beard who was about to read it, paused. His whole face was full of astonishment, and he stood there as if struck by lightning, just staring at the piece of paper in his hand, feeling a little at a loss for a while. Seeing this, the bald man snorted coldly. Huh. Rory is so talkative, pretending to be a ghost. Grabbing the 5 fingers of his left hand, he directly took the document in the hand of 5 elders with the golden beard, and then, the face of the bald man who was disdainful just a second ago was instantly filled with astonishment and shock. Seeing this scene, the remaining 3 old stars knew that something was wrong. The bald man put the document in the middle of the table, and there were only 3 ministers on the whole paper. Open black lens bracket. Kaido of the beasts is repelled. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. The person who repelled Kaido of the beasts is suspected to be the only Mr. Octopus confirmed dead in the 777 laboratory incident. Close black lens bracket. News agency Morgans, submit. Seeing the words, Laboratory 777, the 5 elders, including the old man in black, were all stunned, and even ignored the fact that Kaido of the beasts was repelled. In the 777 laboratory incident, the lunatic scientist Vegapunk was arrested by Marine in this incident and forced to work for the world government. The other 4 leaders, Caesar Current, worked for Doflamingo, and developed artificial devil fruit smile, giant soldier potion and area destruction weapon H2S for sale. Since Doflamingo was arrested and imprisoned, he has completely disappeared. 653. The other is the King Judge of Germa 66. After being arrested, he returned to his country through bribery and continued to engage in research on blood factors. He has developed a number of forbidden technologies. And, Plague Quinn, who served Kaido of the beasts and died in the hands of the armed scourge Lei Luo, the infamous Plague Bomb and Ice Ghost, are all products of the 777 laboratory. And the last one was Mr. Octopus, who was confirmed dead. The 5 elders remember it clearly. It was a guy with 8 octopus-like tentacles behind his back. Although he was the leader of the 777 laboratory incident, his other identity was the assistants of Vegapunk. Caesar Current, Judge and Quinn are the so-called graduate students and laboratory apprentices. The only leader who was confirmed dead in this vicious incident didn't die. And got together with armed scourge Lei Luo. No wonder Lei Luo dared to attack Bigmom with all his strength. It turned out that Mr. Octopus was a dangerous person sitting in the lair. If it was really Mr. Octopus, it would not be surprising to be able to repel Kaido. These scientific lunatics are often not strong in their own strength, but the science and technology they have mastered are enough to shake the whole world. These two lunatics actually got together. God knows what appalling things they are secretly planning. Realizing this, the five elders involuntarily sucked in the cold air. Let's send troops. Apply to Master I will lead the team myself. Lei Luo and Mr. Octopus must die. The bald man's expression was unprecedentedly dignified. Advertisement. Chapter 134. Dark Gold Armament Haki. 5 elders apply to play, please subscribe. Advertisement. The senile old man in black nodded. Yes. This time I agree with your opinion. Take advantage of the battle between Lei Luo and Bigmom. Let's kill the grass. Once the dangerous technologies mastered by Mr. Octopus fall into the hands of Lei Luo, a guy who frequently challenges the authority of the world's government, the sea will inevitably be in chaos, and this matter is urgent. Blue, blue, blue. As soon as the voice fell, the video phone bug on the desktop rang out, the phone bug connected, and the holographic image of Marine Deputy Marshal Sengoku was projected. The old man in black said with some displeasure, Sengoku, I hope what you bring is good news. Sengoku on the other end of the phone first saluted 5 elders, then bowed his head and said, Sakazuki has a message that the battle between Lei Luo and Bigmom ended with Bigmom's death on the spot. While talking, Sengoku picked up the photos on the table and showed them to the 5 elders, the cake island with the white paper flower pirate flag, the collapsed cake castle, and a transparent hole with a diameter of more than 1 meter that was opened on the stomach with the left hand removed. Hollow Bigmom, one after another. The faces of the 5 elders gradually turned serious, extremely serious. Bigmom Charlotte Linlin, the guy known as the strongest woman in the world, the veteran 4 emperors, died in the hands of Lei Luo. Wouldn't their plan come to nothing? In addition to being dignified and shocked, the 5 elders all had the feeling of being punched hard on the head, and their brains were buzzing. Bigmom is a born alien freak, with copper skin and iron bones, unparalleled strange power, and the sea of 10,000 countries is her home field, and there is no shortage of powerful children like Desert 3 generals, how could Lei Luo kill it? Quote. The 5 elders all knew the peculiarity of this Charlotte Linlin, and they were amazed. However, the transparent hole on Bigmom's body looks like it was caused by shell bombing. Since Lei Luo has Mr. Octopus as a high-risk element who has mastered dangerous science and technology, it should not be difficult to use science and technology to create a cannon that can effectively kill Bigmom. And this also shows that Lei Luo has begun to apply the dangerous technology mastered by M5. Octopus to war. No wonder Lei Luo established the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce in the early days to amass money crazily, and used the collected funds for dangerous scientific research. It seemed that everything made sense at once. Lei Luo's terrifying financial resources second only to the Golden Emperor Zoro, plus the dangerous technology of Mr. Octopus, which combines Vegapunk, Caesar Current, Plague Quinn and the Strange Bird Judge. 5 elders felt a little more serious about Lei Luo's killing intent. At this time, Sengoku picked up another photo. Advertisement. After the battle between Lei Luo and Bigmom ended, the red-haired Shanks rushed to Cake Island in an attempt to reach some kind of deal with Lei Luo, but in the end the negotiation fell apart, and the two made a move. Sakazuki and others saw with their own eyes that the red-haired Shanks was suppressed by Lei Luo. Said, Sengoku's own tone became a little unconfident. If these photos were not sent back by Akainu Sakazuki, he would really doubt the authenticity of these photos. Who would have thought that Lei Luo, who struggled to even face Aokiji a few months ago, now has the terrifying strength to beat the red-haired Shanks with half a move? You said the guy with the red hair lost. How did he lose? Before the words fell, the bald man stood up abruptly, and said in a trembling tone. Sakazuki and others didn't see the whole process of the confrontation, they only saw that Lei Luo and Shanks confronted each other. The strange thing is that when Lei Luo confronted Shanks, his fist became bigger 3 times, but according to the information, he is definitely not demon fruit power. Sengoku picked up 2 more photos, one is the appearance of Lei Luo and Shanks touching each other, and the other is the appearance of the black mist on the hand dissipating after the collision. Fist getting bigger. 5 elders with the golden beard asked in amazement, as if he had heard the most incredible thing in the world. The rest of the 4 old stars all cast strange glances at the golden-bearded 5 elders. Seeing the strange reaction of the 5 elders, Sengoku seemed to understand at this moment. Do the 5 elders know why Luo's fists get bigger? We got it. If you have nothing else to do, you should step down. Upload a copy of the photos sent by Sakazuki immediately, and implement the world conscription plan as soon as possible. Lei Luo and his colleagues must not tolerate it any longer. Yes. Sengoku saluted again, and the image dissipated. During the power room, the golden-bearded 5 elders fiddled with his fists inconceivably, his breathing was a little disordered, and the next second, there was a burst of extremely powerful Haki fluctuations, and the left arm of the golden-bearded 5 elders was slowly covered with a layer of horny scales like dark gold. Layer-like material, the entire fist is a circle bigger. He said with a trembling voice, it is the power bestowed by Lord I Am, how could this Lei Luo have it? In this case, then you go and meet him, 5th child. The bald guy who volunteered to kill Lei Luo before changed his mind. Each of them possesses the absolute power bestowed by Master I Am, and each power symbolizes the absolute strength in the field of power. 5 elders with the golden beard held his palm, and the dark gold scales slowly dissipated into a dark gold mist, his eyes filled with a look that could not be provoked. That's exactly what I mean. Advertisement. The old man in black at the side waved his hand. Now is not the time for you to go out. Lei Luo suppressed the red-haired Shanks in public, and the red-haired Shanks will never let him go. This Lei Luo is a GU raised by Shanks himself, let him digest it by himself. And in New World, Shanks' energy is much greater than ours. Backquote. When Shanks and Lei Luo are both injured, it is best when both are injured, that is the best time for us to make a move. At that time, let Lei Luo know that the world's most powerful and helpless despair. 5 elders with a golden beard did not dare to refute the opinion of the old man in black. Then what do we do now? Create momentum for Lei Luo, said the old man in black. Still building momentum. Your tricks are useless at all. The bald man retorted immediately. The old man in black smiled and said, this time there will never be any mistakes again. Lei Luo committed suicide and swallowed Bigmom's territory. Shanks and Kaido will not stand by and watch, and they will definitely fight overtly and secretly. Lei Luo can't eat this piece of fat, but he will choke himself to death. And once the 3 emperors fight, the new world will inevitably be in chaos. Those who have some strength and want to be the emperor of the sea will take advantage of this time to plan their own plans. The 3 emperors must guard against each other and deal with other scattered pirate forces. This involution will greatly consume the vitality of the pirates, and the end of the era of great pirates is just around the corner. As for Mr. Octopus, let's stay with Lei Luo for now. Once the new world becomes chaotic, even if Wang Chenjiao apply those dangerous technologies to the war, the guns and cannons will be aimed at pirates, let them let go and fight. The 4 old stars all nodded. What the old man in black said was indeed somewhat reasonable. At this time, 5 elders in the bald dark green suit asked. Then, the news that Ace is Roger's blood, should we still announce it? Madness. The old man in black scolded. Lei Luo, the emperor of the sea who owns the largest territory in New World, plus Fire Fist Ace, the orthodox blood of the One Piece, do you want to help the pirates twist into a rope to fight against the world Jungfu? After scolding, the anger of the old man in black subsided a little, and he said in a cold voice, tell Morgans, the press release will be written tomorrow. Bigmom died in battle, the Charlotte family was destroyed, and the white paper flower pirates lost more than 80% of their troops. Kaido's loss to Mr. Octopus technology is forbidden to report. 4 emperors' regiments, 1 destroyed and 1 seriously injured, this is enough to make New World into chaos. The gloomy look in the eyes of the old man in black flashed away. Advertisement. Chapter 135. The Concealed Truth, the Completely Chaotic New World. Please subscribe. Advertisement. Next day, on the Ghost Island in the Wano-kuni Inland Sea, built in a castle inside a huge skull. Wangguo Sea was completely breached. Bigmom died on the spot. Flame Calamity Ember, who was in charge of Beast's pirates, flipped through the latest issue of the newspaper, his eyes filled with shock, but more of it was astonishment. The Sea of All Nations has been captured, and Aunt Charlotte is dead. How is this possible? As the head of the 3 disasters of the Beast's pirates, and also the Emperor's lieutenant of the Beast's pirates, Jin, who had witnessed the fierce battle between Governor Kaido and Aunt Charlotte for 10 days and 10 nights, knew exactly how powerful the old 4 emperors was. That's it. Counting from the time when Lei Luo sent troops to the Seas of All Nations, it is only 5 or 6 days, right? With the time to go on the road, there are only 2 or 3 days left. Jin couldn't help but thump in his heart. What kind of joke is this riding on a horse? Governor Kaido and Aunt Charlotte fought fiercely for 10 days and 10 nights, even if Lei Luo summoned Marco, Ace, the 2 ghosts and other top fighters to attack Aunt Charlotte, it is impossible to win the battle in just 2 or 3 days, right? Aunt Charlotte is a born alien freak, with copper skin and iron bones, and unparalleled power. Even if she is suppressed by the devil fruit ability, her own combat power is not weaker than Governor Kaido. She is the only one who has blocked Governor Kaido with pure physical strength. Fame Stunt Thunder Ba 830 Gua. What's more, the Sea of Nations is still Mother Charlotte's home court, and she has a group of powerful sons and daughters under her command. The overall combat capabilities of Cracker and Smoothie are not inferior to Quinn and Jack, and the strength of the Queen's deputy Katakuri is even stronger. Not under him. Regardless of military strength or top combat power, from all aspects of analysis, Lei Luo has no advantage in placing the main battlefield in the Sea of 10 Nations. Killing Charlotte grandmother, why? Unbelievable. Jin continued to look down and saw that a huge hole with a diameter of more than 1 meter had been blasted out of Aunt Charlotte's abdomen. But then Jin's eyes lit up all of a sudden. The white paper flower pirates lost more than 80% of their battle damage. The unbelievable feeling that swept through his body before was instantly lost. The Bingmom pirates were destroyed, the white paper flower pirates lost more than 80% of their battles, one of the 4 emperors was destroyed, and the other was seriously injured. Advertisement. This is God bless Governor Kaido, God bless the Beast's pirates. If we send out all our troops at this time, it will be of great benefit to the Beast's pirates whether it is occupying Bigmom's 10,000 kingdoms or capturing Lei Luo's white paper flower sea area. God-given opportunity, all beasts will prosper. AEAF, boom. Suddenly, thunderclouds rolled over the castle, and thunder exploded. Jin looked up, and saw the body of a 100-foot-long dragon appearing and disappearing in the thundercloud. Excellent. The governor's return is well timed. Jin hurriedly took the newspaper to the door of Kaido's dormitory to serve him. Through the window, he could see the bright purple light, thunder and lightning in the dormitory. When the purple light dissipated, Jin tentatively asked, "Governor Kaido." "Speak." Jin couldn't help but tremble, and it could be heard that Governor Kaido was suffocating at the moment. Could it be that the trip to the White Paper Flower Sea region did not go well? Jin Fu himself did not come at the right time, but since Governor Kaido had already been disturbed, he could only bite the bullet and say, "Today's newspaper reported that the BIGMOM pirates were destroyed, all nations were completely destroyed, and the battle damage of the White Paper Flower pirates also more than 80%. The subordinates think that this moment is a good opportunity from God, whether it is to capture the kingdoms or win the White Paper Flower Sea area, it is all right for us. Roll." Before Jin finished speaking, Kaido's thunderous and roaring scolding sound came from the sleeping hall, the whole castle trembled violently, and the chi and blood all over Jin's body also surged chaotically. Governor Kaido's phantom beast azure dragon form is too suppressive to dragon fruit demon fruit power. Yes. Jin knelt down and responded, and when he was about to retreat, Kaido's voice came again from the dormitory. "Tell that idiot Jack that he must never enter the White Paper Flower Sea area without my permission, even if it is said that Lei Luo is dead, even if the paper flowers are destroyed, they are not allowed to go." With Jack's stupid character, when he sees the news in the newspaper, he will immediately rush to revenge and find a place. But the terrifying laser cannon array can even penetrate his dragon scales. Jack is gone, maybe he won't survive a minute. One of the 3 disasters of Beast's pirates has been killed by Lei Luo, and that damn girl Yamato is unwilling to fill her place. Never lose high-end combat power again. Yes. Advertisement. Although Jin was puzzled, Shen never dared to doubt the words of Kaido, who was obviously in a state of rage. Get out. Gecko Moria, whose identity was changed to the deputy captain of the Blackbeard pirates, sat at the right of Blackbeard, followed by Katarina Deppen and the old remnants, Shiryu of the Rain and Doflamingo, Clock Dar, and Moria's the original subordinates were the genius Dr. Howback and the zombie commander Absalom. Blue. Tell that idiot Jack that without my permission, he must never enter the White Paper Flower Sea, even if it is said that Lei Luo is dead and the White Paper Flower is destroyed. The original words of Governor Kaido, you step on the horse, just figure it out for yourself. As soon as Jin left Kaido's dormitory, Jack the Dro's phone worm called and connected, and Jack's extremely excited voice came from the phone worm. "Brother Jin, my body transformation has been completed. I found Kui because of Big Brother's human transformation technology blueprint. Now, I'm equipped with all the weapons on Brother Quinn's body, and I'm also equipped with the laser burst technology. That red-haired kid really has such a good heart." The scene where Lei Luo defeated Bullet with 3 punches is still fresh in her memory and extremely shocking. Blackbeard sat on the main seat with the dove occupying the magpie's nest. "Tell me, everyone, what do you think of the news from the red hair?" A big hole was opened in the ceiling of the castle, revealing half of the face of the huge battleship San Juan Wolf. Jin sprayed Jack all over the face of the sulking he suffered from Kaido, and hung up the phone directly. In the magical triangle area shrouded in opaque fog all year round, Gecko Moria's lair is above the Thriller Bark, in the eerie castle. At the same time, the first half of the Grand Line, known as Paradise. Jack first reported his current strength, and then changed the subject. "Brother Jin, have you read today's newspaper? The BIGMOM pirates fell, and Lei Luo was also seriously injured in the battle with Big MOM. I think it's time for us to attack with all our might. I'll be the vanguard of the raid." "Shut up, you idiot." Katarina Depan was the first to jump out and questioned. "We have already seen the strength of Lei Luo. It is definitely not a wise way to fight against him with our current military strength and high-end combat power. To put it bluntly, the current strength of the Blackbeard pirates is infinitely close to 0. Joke. Before Jack could finish speaking, Jin's angry cursing sounded out. Now sitting here is all the high-end combat power of the Blackbeard pirates, and Moria's 2 subordinates can't even be counted as combat power, and the Blackbeard pirates are almost all zombie soldiers controlled by Moria. Advertisement. Chapter 136. Behind-the-scenes transactions between Blackbeard and Redhead against Lei Luo. Please subscribe. Advertisement. Even if the piece of fat in the Wangguo Sea region is really in front of you, you can only look at it, but not eat it. Thief, ha ha ha. The Blackbeard thief laughed. You don't know redheads, that guy is a guy who can do anything. I can tell you clearly that there is a deep grievance between me and him, and the scar on his face is thanks to me. Sand Crocodile G. Lock Doll took a breath. So, he is more likely to revenge you. Kill with a knife, with a heavy knife. Blackbeard laughed, and the fat on his body trembled. On the contrary, with his red hair pirate's combat power, it doesn't take so much trouble to deal with me. Being able to let go of this great hatred and contact me just shows that the news is true. In addition, Redhead has always regarded himself as a pirate policeman, and is committed to maintaining the balance of New World 4 emperors. Lei Luo broke the fixed pattern of New World and broke the rules, and Shanks did not completely break up with Lei Luo. It's a shame, but to take advantage of our power, let us rise to the top, and constrain Lei Luo. Although Lei Luo conquered the 10,000 nations sea territory, with his current power, there is no way he can control 2 territories at the same time. As long as he conquers the 10,000 nations sea territory, we can quickly recruit a group of powerful subordinates with our combat power. It will be built soon, and you will be enthroned as the emperor. This is a God-sent opportunity. The evil King Pizarro raised the newspaper in his hand. There's one more thing, don't you find it strange? In the newspapers, Kaido's invasion of Lei Luo's territory was widely reported before, but now the follow-up reports are gone, and the relevant information is also across the board, as if deliberately concealed. As expected, Duoji may be in the sea of white paper or eat. In other words, the worst possibility is that Lei Luo still has enough combat power to repel Kaido in the white paper flower sea area, and his elite, high-end combat power and large troops are all concentrated in the 10,000 nations sea area. We may encounter enough firepower to repel Kaido when we attack the white paper flower sea area, and we will face Lei Luo directly when we attack the Wangguo sea area. Therefore, there is a great possibility that there is no advantage for us at all. The analysis of the evil government king is straightforward. As for the white paper flower pirates that the newspaper said lost more than 80% of their combat power. Pure farts. A very simple reason: if one of the two four emperors' regiments is destroyed and the other loses its vitality, why doesn't the world Zhengfu directly send troops to wipe out, take the two lands into its pocket? Advertisement. It's all bureaus, World Zhengfu's bureau, Red Hair Shank's bureau, even Lei Luo's bureau. After listening to everyone's opinions, Blackbeard said with a smile, in the final analysis, what everyone is worried about is that we are not Lei Luo's opponents, not to mention that we won't get any benefits, and it is very likely that we will lose all our wealth. But what if it's not just us who shot Lei Luo? Do you really think Red Shanks only has one boat? As soon as the words came out, the eyes of Katarina Big Barrel and the evil government king all came together. What do you mean? The Blackbeard thief laughed. Everyone thinks that Redhead only has one ship, the Redforth, but you don't think about it. No matter how elite his crew is, he can't manage the entire territorial waters, right? In fact, Red Hair has more than 20 non-world conquest countries, 9 large-scale pirate groups, and more than 20 small and medium-sized pirate groups. These pirate groups and non-world conquest countries do not communicate with each other on weekdays, pull out at the critical moment and act together. When he first learned that the red-haired Shanks had such a terrifying military force, he himself was taken aback, but he also felt that it was reasonable. After all, in his impression, the red-haired Shanks was good at hiding behind the scenes and planning everything people. It's just that I didn't expect the power that this guy secretly controlled to be so terrifying. The non-world conquest countries alone are already on par with the revolutionary army. If we really want to talk about the distribution of forces in New World, Lei Luo, Kaido and his ilk are nothing. The red-haired Shanks has already agreed. As long as we act together with his subordinates to conquer the Sea of Nations and keep the New World 4 emperors standing together, the throne of Bigmom will be ours. If this is the case, we can take the opportunity to share a piece of the pie, but we can't trust him completely, we must keep a hand. Katarina Dupon's attitude changed. Blackbeard took out the paper lottery that he had prepared earlier. So let's draw lots, we will choose 5 people, and the rest will stay behind. Drawing lots of life and death, is the most common way in the pirate circle to decide who will fight. It is fair and just, and no one suffers. After a round of draws, the 5 confirmed players are Crescent Moon Hunter Katarina Dupon, Huge Battleship San Juan Wolf, Heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo, Sand Crocodile Lokadar and Rain Shiryu. Advertisement. 0. Asking for flowers. Leave today, and we must arrive at the Sea of 10,000 Kingdoms in 10 days' time, and cooperate with Red Hair's attack. 10,000 nations must be included in our territory, to be enthroned and crowned emperor. Blackbeard's eyes were full of sinisterness. As long as he wins the kingdoms, he will immediately ascend the throne and recruit capable people and strangers. As long as the framework of the 4 Emperors Regiment is established, he will no longer be subject to the red-haired Shanks, and he will truly own the 4 Emperors class. Power. The fat and black palm brushed against the aching chest. Lei Luo, just let you dance for a few more days, and soon Laozi will stand in front of you with a majestic attitude, demanding your life debt back. No. Stir up the new world situation with your own power, and completely confront the red hair and the world's government, maybe you won't live to see Laozi again. Thieves ha ha ha. With a territory, maybe there will be more opportunities to find fruits. I am the only person in this world who can have double fruits. At that time, Laozi will be the only emperor. As time went by, the news that the 4 emperors were dead and the other injured gradually spread throughout the sea, and the pirates with a little strength became restless because of this. In New World, in a sea area not far from the territorial waters of White Paper Flower, a ship with a huge dinosaur skull on its prow is fast breaking through the waves. It is the Victoria Punk of Captain Eustace, Kid of the Evil Generation. Kid stood on the deck and waved the latest issue of the newspaper to the subordinates behind him. Little ones, it's not in vain that we have been dormant for so long after entering New World, and the opportunity to become famous in the first battle finally made us wait. Now Lei Luo's large troops are piled up in the Sea of 10,000 Kingdoms, and he has been severely injured in the decisive battle with Big Mom. The defense in his lair is even more empty. Our chance has come. Our kid pirates will not be anyone's vassals. We have invaded the White Paper Flower Sea and seized the territory. I will ascend the throne and become the emperor. You are all my pioneers. Kid pirates. All troops attack. With Kid's exciting mobilization before the battle, all the pirates on board were mobilized. Roar. Take the White Paper Flower. Long live Captain Kid. And the same scenes are constantly being staged in every corner of New World. Advertisement. Chapter 137. Advice from the whole regiment. Captain Lei Luo accepts Charlotte. Please subscribe. Advertisement. The new world is in chaos, and the Wangguo Sea area captured by Lei Luo has just finished a funeral for thousands of people. One will succeed in the desolation of bones. In this battle, more than 100 elite members of the White Paper Flower Pirates died in battle, including the captain of the 7th Division, Lukoyo, and the captain of the 11th Division. 56 vassal regiments killed more than 12,000 people, all of which were lost in the battle with the revenge army of the BIGMOM pirates. Nearly 3,000 people in Vice Admiral were killed by Katakuri. Lei Luo presided over the collection and burial of the deceased brothers himself. Those who are alive will be rewarded for meritorious deeds. 56 vassal regiments will each be rewarded with 200 million baileys. The same is true for the captains of the White Paper Flower Regiment. Brothers who have been seriously injured should recuperate and heal their wounds. Cut arrangements. After everything was done, Lei Luo summoned the 2 ghosts, the 3 demons, and the 4 captains of 523, who accompanied the destroyer, including Kuliao, Buffalo Atmos, Blenheim, and Bramanka. Total of 12 captains including the group came to the deck of the Ruishan for a meeting. Although the 10,000 nations sea territory has been defeated. But it is important to fight the country, and it is more important to stay in the country. All the 34 main islands need to arrange manpower to sit in the town, and the formation and deployment of troops need to be discussed. The pirate Empress Boa Hancock expressed her willingness to lead the crowd to join the White Paper Flower Pirates, so she also had a seat in the meeting. Captain Lei Luo, we caught a few suspicious guys at the edge of the Wangguo Sea, suspected to be the children of BIGMOM. Not long after the meeting started, Aladdin, the vice captain of the Sun Pirates, suddenly yelled from the sea below the Ruishan. Since Jinbei led the crowd to join the White Paper Flower Pirates, most of the time Aladdin, the vice captain, is in charge, and Seaman Jinbei spends most of his time on the Fishman Island. Therefore, the Sun Pirates were also commanded by the deputy captain Aladdin in this battle to invade the Sea of Nations. Lei Luo didn't speak. Seeing this, Bullet, the leader of the 3 demons, rushed down and said, "How come there is still a fish that slipped through the net? All members of the BIGMOM pirates, members of the Charlotte family will be killed without mercy." From the sea below, Aladdin's hesitant and intermittent voice came. One of them is, how about Captain Lei Luo to come and see for himself before making a decision? A hint of impatience flashed in Bullet's eyes, and his burly body stood up abruptly. Hexia Jinbei has always been a well-behaved guy. How did he teach his subordinates to be so ignorant of the rules? 3 steps and 2 steps to the side of the boat. I said it. Bullet's voice stopped abruptly. Advertisement. After a while, he turned his head to look at Lei Luo and asked tentatively, "Why don't you take a look, boss?" Lei Luo frowned, and said coldly, "Bullet, I thought that with your ability, you would know how to deal with this kind of thing." Bullet lowered his voice. "Boss, there is a woman named Garrett in this group. Aladdin and the others probably had some scruples to bring him here instead of killing them directly." Although the voice was very low, it fell into the ears of everyone on the deck. Everyone looked at each other, and they all saw the look of, "That's how it is," in each other's eyes. Garrett. Hearing this name, a slim figure wearing a wine-red miniskirt and a hair accessory with devil horns on his head immediately appeared in Lei Luo's mind. Charlotte Garrett. For this woman, Lei Luo is very impressed. She is the 18th daughter of Aunt Charlotte and the 42nd child of the Charlotte family. Among the many children of Aunt Charlotte, this Garrett is the most normal and good-looking, the most online figure, not as strange as other brothers and sisters. If I remember correctly, on the marriage invitation that Pei Ross Perot sent at the end, the marriage partner stated was Charlotte Teggeret. Hey, it's no wonder that even the reckless Bullet has some scruples. It turns out that's the case. But, so what? For him, women are at best an embellishment, not a necessity, and there is no shortage around him, such as Karina and Hancock, who can be picked out at random, with good looks and figures. More importantly, the 2 captains, Lakyo and Jinguduo, just died, and the White Paper Flower Pirates lost more than 12,000 troops. Right now, Garrett is still dead. He is more valuable. Leaving her behind would actually distract the people and affect the centralization of power. Exclamation mark quote. Before the word could be blurted out, Boa Hancock's white jade finger has already sealed his mouth. Lei Luo looked cold. Boa Hancock quickly admitted his mistake in a low voice when he saw that the situation was wrong, and at the same time said in a low voice, "I think it would be better to keep this Garrett. We did conquer the Sea of 10,000 Nations, but we can't kill all the people in the Sea of 10,000 Nations. There are not only the BIGMOM pirates and the Charlotte family in the Sea of 10,000 Nations, but also other people." Advertisement. After the war, if you want to quickly restore the operation of the post-war area, the population and the hearts of the people are the most indispensable. Historically, there has been a practice of a new king marrying a subjugated princess to consolidate the regime. From the perspective of my concubine, Captain Lei Luo might as well take this Garrett into his account. The key now is if this woman joins the White Paper Flower Pirates. Karina occupies too many positions in Lei Luo's heart. If she wants to become Lei Luo's woman, there will always be a subtle embarrassment between her and Karina. Checks and balances. Hancock went on to say, "The thing that is most detrimental to the stability of people's hearts is the change of imperial power. At this time, the people of the Charlotte family will be in charge of the nations, but it will be more conducive to the post-war reconstruction work. Of course, what's more important is that my concubine has some impressions of this Charlotte. Although she is not as beautiful as my concubine, she is also a very mature beauty. It is not a disadvantage for Captain Lei Luo to accept her." Marco, Ace and the others looked even weirder. Although Hancock lowered her voice very low, the people who can sit here for a meeting are all top experts. Everyone heard it. Ace, Joes, Vista, Yi Zhang and others also nodded, obviously approving what Marco said. It is easy to capture this territory, but it is difficult to secure this territory. Instead of us taking it over and reorganizing 2.6, it is better to use the captured personnel reasonably. However, since the former captains of the White Group have no objections, there is no need to worry about distracting people. If this is the case, Ji is more suitable than Wutong to solve the current problems. At this time, Marco, who was not far away, said, "Captain. I think the Empress is right. I believe that Leikeo and Jingudo also hope to see you lead the brothers to secure this territory as soon as possible. Although he didn't intend to take her big house, but he couldn't let Lei Luo focus on her, right?" Lei Luo's expression changed. He didn't understand what kind of medicine Hancock was selling in her gourd zero. In what capacity should we deal with this woman? If this Jierit becomes your bedside person, Wang Guohai can probably hand it over to them with confidence. Although what she said is true, she also has her own little calculations. Marco can understand the truth. How can Lei Luo not understand? He just finds it troublesome. It can be solved by force. Why use wise tactics? Hancock kept his eyes downcast, not daring to look into Lei Luo's eyes. Advertisement. Chapter 138. Picking a date to get married. Garrett, who has been manipulated to death. Please subscribe. Advertisement. Lei Luo pondered for a moment, whether to kill or keep. Let's see how much value this woman can bring. Bring it on. The bullet on the side of the boat immediately declared, "Bring it up." The hanging ladder of the destroyer came down, and the Sun Pirates escorted a group of people forward. The one walking in the front was Charlotte Tegia, who was wearing a wine-red mini dress and a plush cloak. The dozen or so people behind him are also familiar faces. 70% of her face is similar to Garrett's. She wears a panda hat, but her mouth looks like Povar's torn apart. Charlotte Pudding, who wears oblique bangs to block the third horizontal eye, has a big mouth and thick lips. Like the shrunken version of Bigmom's Charlotte Chiffon, the hammerhead shark half-mermaid Charlotte Praline, and the Charlotte twins in the same light pink outfit. If I remember correctly, in the original pirate book, these people somewhat disagreed with Charlotte's rule. Charlotte, meet Captain Lei Luo. Garrett came 10 steps away from Lei Luo and bowed to perform court etiquette, and the people behind them also imitated Garrett's appearance to greet Lei Luo. This was originally a compulsory etiquette for the children of the Charlotte family in order to please their mother. Now that their wealth and lives are in Lei Luo's hands, it is natural to do everything to please Lei Luo. As a matter of fact, everyone had already relied on their knowledge of the seas of 10,000 kingdoms to escape from the white paper flower pirates and fled to the edge of the seas of all nations. False thought that they would encounter Lei Luomo's sun pirates, which consisted of murlocs and mermaids. Group. When encountering murlocs and mermaids in the sea, unless they are extremely powerful and transcendent, they will lose 0-4 without any suspense. Looking at Lei Luo on the throne, and looking at the cake castle that collapsed into ruins not far away, Garrett couldn't help but feel a little dazed. The last time I came to Cake Island, it was the Bigmom pirates who were about to marry Lei Luo, the quasi-4th General Star, the identity of the butter minister of the Charlotte family. In the blink of an eye, everything that was once collapsed. And Lei Luo didn't care about the Charlotte family at all, but turned his head to look at the cadres of the white paper flower pirates. There are so many fish that slipped through the net. Who is in charge of cleaning up the remnants? It's me, Captain. Fire Fist Ace stood up, trembling a little. Lei Luo asked coldly, "Is this what you do?" Ace buried his head very low. "This subordinate is not good at work, so I asked the captain to apologize. I was supposed to report to you, but I haven't had time yet. Go back and go to Karina to get the punishment." After finishing speaking, Lei Luo then asked, "Have you checked the list? Is it true that all the remnants of the Junawote family are standing here?" Ace glanced at the Charlotte family, and reported, "In addition to these people, the chef of the Bigmom pirates, the 42nd son of the Charlotte family, Charlotte Angel, and the 45th son Charlotte Tedelch, the 46th son Charlotte Delagie, the 36th daughter Charlotte Teflape and the 39th daughter Charlotte Tianana have not yet been found." Lei Luo went over these names in his mind. These are the youngest group of Charlotte's grandma's children, and they have almost no lethal reserve army. Find out. Not one left. Yes. Next second. Wait a minute. Plop. Garrett knelt down in front of Lei Luo and begged, "Captain Lei Luo, please spare my brothers and sisters. They are very young and don't understand anything, so they don't pose a threat to you. I will take them out of the sea of all nations, abandon Charlotte's surname from now on, and disappear in this sea forever." Lei Luo secretly smiled. "Let the other party ask for you. This is the most basic skill in the negotiation between the two parties. The negotiating table is a battlefield without gunpowder. Whoever exposes the demand first will lose, and will only retreat steadily afterward. Give up your surname and disappear forever." Advertisement. Lei Luo said in a very playful tone, "Garrett, thanks to you being the butter minister of the Kingdom of Torrent, you don't understand the principle of cutting grass and roots. Since it's going to disappear, it's better to disappear completely." Garrett lowered her head. "I just hope that Captain Lei Luo can let them go, and Garrett is willing to trade her life for it." The corners of Lei Luo's mouth curled up. In Charlotte, a family where everyone is a tool, there is someone like Garrett. Yes, it has not been completely poisoned by Charlotte's teaching methods, and it can still be used. Lei Luo judged like this in his heart, and said on his mouth, "Take your life in exchange." Aren't your lives in my hands? How do you trade your life with me? As a defeated prisoner, what qualifications do you have to negotiate terms with me? If you want to take a person for your own use, you must first smash everything about her, and let her know that she is nothing in front of you. Only in this way can she be a teacher. Just like the bullet that was concocted back then. All the captains around were also sitting upright, showing a trace of unbearable smiles, and the atmosphere suddenly became dignified. Captain Lei Luo's temperament is obviously different from that of Whitebeard's father. He is younger, more powerful and elusive. To his subordinates, sometimes he is like a brother, but most of the time, he tortures everyone with an extremely powerful attitude. In the past, when Dad was in power, the defeated captives surrendered. Generally, if there was not much hatred, Dad would adopt him as a foster son, just like Ace and Skuyet. However, Lei Luo's attitude towards the defeated prisoners was obviously not that kind. He is young, with extraordinary strength, and he alone is enough to crush all injustices. The general trend of killing the ant and forcing the red hair back made him look more powerful and invincible. Just sitting there makes people feel a strong feeling that it is difficult to even breathe. Garrett froze. As a defeated prisoner, her life and death depended on Lei Luo's thoughts, and she really didn't have any qualifications to negotiate terms with Lei Luo. The hearts of all the members of the Charlotte family behind her were in suspense, and they raised their voices, seeing that the negotiation between Sister Garrett and Lei Luo was about to collapse. If the negotiation collapsed, they would all die. Garrett took a deep breath. I am not qualified to negotiate terms with you, but if you are Captain Lei Luo, if you only want to be an overlord at sea, of course the easiest way is to kill everyone in the Charlotte family, but you in the future, we will lay down more territory. After all, you need to turn external forces into your people. Saying so, Garrett knelt down on the ground. My respected Emperor Lei Luo, I would like to lead the Charlotte family and the remnants of the BIGMOM pirates to surrender and become part of your power. We are willing to guard the territory for you together, and even expand the territory. Seeing this, a weird smile appeared on the corner of Lei Luo's mouth. Interestingly, this woman actually vaguely understood a little bit of his inner thoughts. He didn't want to be a pirate leader in peace like Whitebeard and others. Then wait for time to wash away, and finally ended sadly. In fact, whether it was the original Rocks or Roger, they were prominent for a while. The pirates are just a group of forces without foundation, and in the eyes of the world government, they are just a group of flies flying around, and they do not cause much harm. During the 800 years that the world conqueror has controlled the world, such a powerful pirate group has experienced so much. There has never been a pirate group that can truly threaten the world conqueror. Why? Because no matter how powerful the pirates are, they have no foundation and no background. They only know how to develop force blindly. Their biggest reliance is the incomparable strength of the pirate captain, and time is their biggest enemy. Advertisement. No matter how powerful the pirates are, there will be a day when they will grow old. When this day comes, the usual invincible pirate group will also usher in the end of the day. Because the world conquest has a background that pirates do not have, not to mention the great secret treasure of celestial dragons, it is the technology, knowledge and war potential controlled by the world conquest. Once the world conquest is really serious, it can easily wipe out the world. And if Lei Luo needs to rule the world, except for these pirate groups in New World. After all, the power of celestial dragons world government is an unavoidable hurdle. Several forces in New World are just getting started. In addition to his own power, integrating the power of the entire New World to the greatest extent is also extremely important to his goal of world domination. After all, domination requires the incorporation of subjugated forces. It is impossible for him to directly kill all the people in the Sea of Nations. At this stage, the white paper flower pirates have swallowed the Sea of Nations and are already in a state of extreme shortage of manpower. Many sea areas are difficult for people to control. So the necessary part of the collection is still feasible. It's just that 137, although all the main members of the Charlotte family are dead now, accidents have not been prevented, and we have to wait to add another shackle to Garrett. Playing her value to the highest point is the correct approach. At the critical moment, in order to maintain his own rule, Lei Luo did not object to the marriage. Your strength is dispensable to me, but in the end it is better than nothing. Tell me, if your younger brothers and sisters rebel against me in the future, how will you deal with it? Lei Luo asked coldly. The answer to this question will determine whether Garrett and the remnants of the Charlotte family will live or die. Quote. Exclamation mark quote. As soon as the word came to her lips, Garrett swallowed it back, and she suddenly realized something. People have self-knowledge, and they must always be aware of their own weight. Defeated prisoners today, it is not up to her to make decisions about their life and death. So of course, if the younger brothers and sisters rebel against Lei Luo in the future, it is naturally not up to her to make the decision whether to kill or stay, but Lei Luo will decide. Putting aside the two concepts of rebellion and Charlotte family, Lei Luo's real question is to be loyal to his own judgment or to be loyal to his Lei Luo orders. Thinking of this, Garrett couldn't help breaking out in a thick layer of cold sweat, which completely wet the back of her clothes. So dangerous. Follow Captain Lei Luo's instructions. The corner of Lei Luo's mouth twitched a slight arc, and he saw Garrett's reaction after hearing the question. Smart woman, you made a wise choice. Hearing what Lei Luo said, Garrett finally breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that her life was saved. Lei Luo stood up from the throne, his burly and strong body gave off a strong sense of oppression, just standing there made people shiver uncontrollably. Get up. Lei Luo lifted Garrett up, and frivolously lifted her snow-white chin with his fingers. Garrett's heart was pounding. A tinge of drunken red appeared on her pretty fair face. Her eyes were full of panic and astonishment, but she didn't dare to move. Aunt Charlotte is dead, and the kingdom of Torrent needs a new queen. Come back with me tomorrow, choose a day to get married, and take over the Rand. Advertisement. Chapter 139. The sensation caused by 3 brides. Please subscribe. Advertisement. 2 days later, in the sea of white paper flowers, on the coastal pier of Ness's Island in the hinterland. Looking at the mast and the white paper flower skull flag fluttering on the top of the mast, Karina was certain that he had finally returned. In fact, Karina, who learned about the departure time of Lei Luo and others, has been waiting here for a long time, and just wants to see him sooner, even if it is only a second earlier. Although she was able to manage the sea area in an orderly manner when he was away, only when he came back would she have the backbone. In the extreme distance where the sea and the sky meet, the Ruishan and the 3 accompanying ships gradually become clear, followed by 9 snakes, Great Eddy Spider, Ice Witch, Ranger, Wolfba, Demon, 6-armed Kamal, the Seal, the Sun, and the D. Carlban brothers are the ships of 10 pirate groups. The 10 pirate regiments have about 8,000 troops, and the remaining 47 pirate regiments have about 30,000 troops, all of which remain in the 10,000 nations sea. In addition, Marco, the captain of the 1st team, Josie, the captain of the 3rd team, Bista, the captain of the 5th team, and Yi Zhang, the captain of the 16th team, also stayed in the 10,000 kingdoms sea as guards and managed the 47 seas. The management of the bandit group with about 30,000 troops. Counting the members of the Charlotte family and the original BIGMOM pirates that Garrett has reintegrated from Wangguo, the number of troops remaining in Wangguo is about 50,000, enough to guard a border. There is also the head chef of the original BIGMOM pirates, Long Bread, as the logistics minister. The devil fruit ability of the old boy Long Bread is very strange. Paramesha eats the fruit. By throwing the sword into the object, he can turn any object into food. In the original work of the pirate, he can even instantly turn the whole cake castles become fluffy cakes. With him around, it's no problem to provide food and drink for 50,000 troops. Lei Luo's destroyer sailed to the sea off Ness's Island very quickly, and the giant tiger-headed sea kings jumped out from the water, setting off monstrous waves and screaming happily to welcome the return of the master, but Karina's expression was slightly startled. Standing on the bow of the destroyer is not only Lei Luo who she thinks about day and night, but also Boa Hancock and Charlotte. Is it the woman who was going to marry Lei Luo on behalf of the Charlotte family? A woman's precise sixth sense makes Karina instantly compose a series of plots. Lei Luo, a big pig's hoof, why did he still bring this woman back? With her intelligence, it's not hard to think why Lei Luo brought Garrett back. It must be to use Garrett to consolidate her rule in the seas of 10,000 nations. Isn't there a better way? All kinds of thoughts flashed through Karina's mind, but she soon showed a smile, feeling uncomfortable because Lei Luo had just returned from a battle, so she definitely didn't want to see her drooping face. She must greet him with a smile return. Sister Karina, why did boss Lei Luo bring back another sister? Didn't he go to war? On Karina's shoulder, the little man Shueli said a little angrily, completely unable to understand that the boss of Lei Luo is such a big carrot. He obviously has sister Karina as good as her 891 number 183. Karina smiled. That's right, that sister is the trophy brought back by your boss Lei Luo. Boots. There are big doubts in man Shueli's little mind. Destroyer is docked. Lei Luo walked off the boat slowly, Hancock and Garrett followed behind. Welcome home. Karina immediately rushed up to give Lei Luo a thin bear hug, and her whole body stuck to Lei Luo. Advertisement. Lei Luo rubbed her purple hair and signaled her to come down. Thank you for your hard work during this time. No hard work. You won't have to work hard when you come back. Karina raised a delicate smile at Lei Luo. Lei Luo raised his hand to signal Garrett behind him to step forward, pointed to Karina and said, "This is Karina, from now on I will be called Big Sister." Of course Garrett knows her own weight, even though she is older than Karina, but who makes people spend a long time with Lei Luo, and immediately called out sweetly, "Garrett has met Sister Karina." Karina knew that Lei Luo had given her a perfect step, so of course she wouldn't hold it, and pulled Garrett's hand over. "You're welcome, we'll be good sisters from now on." Karina's generosity surprised Garrett. This sister is definitely not a good person. But if you think about it, where did the good stubble come from around Lei Luo? Lei Luo stepped forward and put his arms around Karina, and said with a smile, "You have to worry about the wedding as a big sister." Wedding. Karina was stunned for a moment, a little out of her mind. Whose? Lei Luo laughed. "We are four." Glancing at the Empress Boa Hancock who was smiling at her behind Lei Luo, Karina immediately understood. "No problem, you just came back from a battle, take a good rest, and leave the rest to me." And Man Shueli on Karina's shoulder covered her eyes with her small palm. Lei Luo was too shameless to look directly at her. The two ghosts, the three demons, Ace and others who came down from the Ruishan one after another curled their lips indistinctly, faintly disappointed. The imagined Shura field drama should not be able to be seen. Time flies. Before I knew it, a week had passed since the battle between White Paper Flower and BIGMOM. Thanks to the strong funds of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce and the outstanding construction capabilities of the rest of the Charlotte family, the Sea of Nations has returned to its former prosperity. The castle on Cake Island has also been rebuilt, but the architectural style has been greatly changed, and everything is built in accordance with the architectural style of the headquarters of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce. The red pearl was originally the exclusive car of the three demons. Since the three demons already had a better ghost-faced ship, this ship, which used to be the fastest white paper flower, also stayed in the 10,000 kingdoms for the convenience of the captains who stayed in the 10,000 kingdoms. At this time, the red pearl has been converted into room 1 of the office. A figure with an orange pineapple head was flipping through and approving various materials submitted by various departments. It was the chief executive of the Wangguo Sea area and the captain of the first team, Marco. Bump. 5th Division Captain Vista pushed the door open. Marco, Captain Lei Luo's wedding date has been set, and just 3 days later, he sent us a post asking us to go back. Advertisement. Foil Vista's mustache trembled slightly. He felt sincere admiration for Captain Lei Luo's marriage, and his father was right. Everything Captain Lei Luo did after he succeeded to the throne was enough to shock the jaws of the world. Like marrying 3 brides at once or something. Marco raised his weary head. The dead fish had thick dark circles under their eyes, and their eyes were even more bloodshot. After Lei Luo took people back to the white paper flower sea area, everything in the 10,000 nations sea area was handed over to him. And he has also thoroughly felt the pain of managing a sea area. There are countless things waiting for him to deal with every day. If it is not for the help of Diamond Chaozi and Foil Vista, if it is not for the brothers who sacrifice their lives with blood in exchange for Zhongshan, he probably wants to quit now. This position is really tiring. As a deputy to manage a sea area and as the chief steward of a sea area are two completely different concepts. He doesn't even have time to sit down and eat a pineapple pie now, and he's not going to sleep and work. Captain Lei Luo's wedding date is set. Why don't we go back to participate? Hey, it's great, the long-lost vacation. As soon as Marco heard the news, he wished he could jump up from his seat. Looking at the piles of documents to be processed on his desk, his whole body felt dizzy. He felt that he couldn't bear it. Under heavy pressure. He admires Karina Big Sister Head who is always busy, and even more admires Captain Lei Luo who can make Karina Big Sister Head pay silently. Yes, Marco. What gift do you want to prepare? You are the captain of the first team, this gift must not be shabby. I am going to give the captain the rosemary wine that I have treasured for a long time. Tisk D. The wedding night must be ecstasy. Vista had a smirk on his face, and behind him, Wang Zhao's, a figure in kimono more beautiful than a woman, was watching quietly. Gift EH. The smile on Marco's face disappeared. Following him, he saw the figure behind Vista. Yi Zhang. What are you giving? Standing behind Vista is none other than Yi Zhang, captain of the 16th division. Yi Zhang took something out of his arms with a smile. It's better to give 3 captains' wives as a gift. Wanokuni Diva special makeup powder, exclusive formula, Yi Zhang's personal test without any skin hazards, and Wanokuni skin care secret. After showing Marco and Vista a glance, Yi Zhang immediately took the things back, for fear that these 2 shameless people would rob them. Anyway, it's not like these 2 shameless people haven't done this kind of thing before. Gifts. What kind of gift would you like for Captain Lei Luo? After Marco thought wildly, he fell into deep thought. And on the exclusive car that once belonged to Charlotte Tegaret, in the cabin. Sister Garrett is getting married, let's express it, the three-eyed pudding said. In front of them was an invitation card with gold lettering on a red background. The groom was Lei Luo, and the bride was Karina, the pirate queen Boa Hancock, and their current elder sister Charlotte. Individual. Advertisement. Chapter 140. Wedding invitations are sent all over the Grand Line, please subscribe. Advertisement. Garrett's younger sister Povar said naturally, of course. The rest of the big brother sisters are gone, and Garrett's sister is our eldest sister. If you want my sister to not be bullied by the other 2 women after passing through the door, the mother's family must offer a big gift. There are 2 more rainbow halos on the white face. Angry. It's easy to put it bluntly, now the entire Wangguo Sea belongs to brother-in-law Lei Luo. What can we give? The eldest of Charlotte's Dakabis, Charlotte Tanujik, sat next to Charlotte Chiffon and ate cake. The sugar needs engraved in their DNA made them inseparable from sweets. Even though Mother Charlotte Linlin is no longer around, the need for sugar intake on the Charlotte family will be imprinted on them. I do have an idea. Charlotte Praline, who hadn't spoken for a long time, suddenly said, do you still remember the tradition of getting married in the Charlotte tribe? Wedding cake. Everyone in the cabin spoke out almost simultaneously. It is a peerless dessert that can only appear on weddings, which are absolutely important days for the Charlotte family. It is baked with the best quality ingredients from every island in the Sea of Nations, and it is a huge wedding cake that is as big as a hill. But, it is said that the wedding cake is for the couple to celebrate, but in fact, only the mother can enjoy 90% of it, and the remaining 10% is distributed to the guests and the ministers of all nations. The other children are only worthy of watching. Therefore, this wedding cake also symbolizes the class division of the nations to some extent. Dedicated to Lei Luo with the wedding cake my mother created, are you crazy? Charlotte Tenuki, second child of 373 decamuplets, said. This is like beheading the officials of the current dynasty with the sword of the previous dynasty. The rebellion is clearly revealed. Isn't this courting death? It will bring a catastrophe to Sister Garrett. Charlotte Kaifeng, who was full of blood, said, I think this wedding cake is the best gift we can give. The cake baked with top ingredients from the 34 islands of Wangguo symbolizes the congratulations from the whole Wanuo to Captain Lei Luo. Captain Luo eating the cake also means that Nashuguo enters the edition. More importantly, we couldn't come up with anything better. Garrett's younger sister Povar nodded and said, "Then let's do this, immediately post a post to Marco, explaining our intentions. We want to use the best ingredients from all nations." At the same time, in the huge castle of the ruins of the subjugated country on Kragon Island, Perona, with pink curly hair and a gothic lowly dress, is floating in the air. Ever since Thriller Bark was breached by Straw Hat Crew, she was slapped and flew here by the Tyrant Bear. Although she said at the time that she liked damp, dark, and old castles, it was based on the premise that there were countless lovely servants in the castle. But there is nothing here, only a group of fierce baboons and that fierce eagle-eyed uncle, the hateful Tyrant Bear. Perona was looking at the invitation card with gold letters on a red background with a look of disgust. Advertisement. Marrying 3 women at once, what kind of dog is this Lei Luo? Oh, no, even marrying this kind of man, and marrying 3 together, how stupid are these 3 women? Not right. Even knowing a friend like Lei Luo, Uncle Hawkeye's character seems very unreliable. Bump. Dracula Mahawk, the eagle eye who returned from sword practice, pushed the door open. Ghost girl, have you opened my mail privately again? Dracula Mahawk's voice was cold, with an unhappy mood on his face. The seal was not tight and fell out, and I just picked it up for you. Garrulous. Perona threw the invitation over and drifted away on her own. Is Lei Luo getting married? A flash of astonishment flashed in Dracula Mahawk's eagle-like eyes. Didn't Lei Luo, who pursued ultimate, put all his heart and soul into cultivation like him? He obviously didn't expect Lei Luo to get married so soon. Lei Luo is only 24 years old, right? Look at him again, for 43 years he has always lived alone. Woman, why do you want that thing? It will only affect the speed of drawing the sword. In the next second, Dracula Mahawk's eagle-like sharp eyes trembled, the whole person stood there as if struck by lightning, because he saw several people in the bride's column. 3. He can't stand a noisy woman like Perona, and Lei Luo married 3 at a time. 0. Dracula Mahawk swallowed unconsciously, and it took a long time to hold back 2 words from his throat. A good man. However, since you think highly of me so much, I'll join in the fun at your wedding. In fact, he is not interested in Lei Luo's wedding and how many women he will marry at the wedding. The main reason is that Lei Luo first repelled Kaido of the Beasts, and now he defeated Bigmom, and took over the entire Sea of Nations. This is enough to show that he already has the terrifying strength enough to kill an old 4 emperors. If he can fight against one of them, it will definitely be of great benefit to his breakthrough in the way of swordsmanship. First give Lei Luo face AEAA to attend the wedding, and then of course Lei Luo will also give him face. After the wedding, it shouldn't be difficult to ask for a fight. Dracula Mahawk made up his mind with a wave of his hand. At the same time, he shouted into the empty air, "Ghost girl, I'm going to attend the wedding of 4 emperors Lei Luo, do you want to learn more?" Advertisement. I go. Perona, who turned into a ghost, floated out. Although marrying 3 women at once is definitely a scumbag, but there is nothing better than leaving this run-down island to have fun right now. There was an extremely subtle, imperceptible smile on the corner of Dracula Mahawk's mouth. Lei Luo is so young, so handsome, and so powerful, a little girl like Perona is the easiest to fall in love with. Lei Luo can marry 3 at a time, I don't think he would mind 10 more. In this way, we can get rid of this annoying ghost girl logically. At this time, Naval Headquarters in Marineford, in the office of Marshal Sengoku. Staff Officer Crane and Garp, who did not receive the invitation but learned through other channels that Lei Luo was going to get married, were in the office of Acting Marshal Sengoku with a worried face. Unexpectedly, even Boa Hancock was directly taken down by Lei Luo, and there will be a new vacancy in 7 Warlords of the Sea. Sengoku, the progress of the world conquest and plan must be adjusted. Garp, who used to rely on his fists to speak and leave his brains to Sengoku for the first time, used his brains. Quote. He, the chief staff officer of the headquarters, snorted coldly, "You're wrong, according to the news I received, Boa Hancock posted it on his own initiative. She's still bitter about how Boa Hancock used the sweet fruit to embarrass her in front of everyone before the Whitebeard extermination campaign. Even, his invitation was sent to the 7 Warlords of the Sea." Garp's face changed. "Then you don't. That's all. But this battle cannot be fought." Before finishing speaking, Sengoku interrupted. "As you can imagine, I have been deprived of power. Just let them fully focus on the world conscription plan, and never attack without an order. Go and rest first, I will report this matter to the above." Before Sengoku could speak, Staff Officer he took over the conversation. This guy Lei Luo's wolf ambition is clearly revealed. Although he still has the status of acting marshal, it is not so easy to mobilize troops. Garp looked at Sengoku with burning eyes and asked, "So what shall we do?" "The reason is simple, 5 elders don't let." Garp said in a deep voice. "The most frightening thing is that according to the information I have received, Lei Luo is sending out wedding invitations to various forces, ranging from the Golden Emperor Zoro of the Golden City and the Queen of the Joy Festival to Stussy, as small as the Evil Generation, supernovas of all ages, pirates from all walks of life, even Eustace Kid, one of the supernovas of the extremely evil generation who was defeated not long ago, have received invitations. Where is he going to get married? He clearly wants to take advantage of the marriage to expand his influence. It is possible to form cliques and even take the opportunity to completely integrate the pirate forces in New World. Lei Luo now holds 2 territories, so there must be insufficient troops. When we get married, all the staff will relax their vigilance. This is a good time for us to attack. I took the initiative to post it without saying anything, and even posted the entire 9 snake pirates as a dowry. Pooh, shameless woman. Sengoku let out a long sigh. How could he not understand the situation when even Garp could understand it? Staff Garp and Crane were stunned. Just a report. Sengoku nodded. Currently, all actions aimed at Lei Luo, or even involving Lei Luo, must be reported to the higher authorities. Advertisement. Chapter 141. The undercurrent at the wedding scene. Please subscribe. Advertisement. A few minutes later, the power between. After listening to Sengoku's report, the 5 elders sat together. That armed disaster Lei Luo is getting married, what do you think? The aging black-clothed old man said in a deep voice. Although his voice was calm, there was a hint of anticipation in his words, as if he was looking forward to the early arrival of Lei Luo's wedding day. 5 elders, with a long beard in a dark blue suit, sneered, I think his marriage is fake, and it's true that he took the opportunity to expand his influence. Look at the women he married, the Empress of the 9 Snakes, and the 18th daughter of the Charlotte family are all of great benefit to the expansion of his influence. The bald, chunky 5 elders took up the conversation. The most important thing is that he spreads wedding invitations in New World. Almost all hostile forces in the world have received his invitations, and there is a great momentum to unify New World. Not just New World. 5 elders with the golden beard shook his head and said, even all the forces in the paradise in the first half of the 4 seas and the Grand Line have received the invitation, including Germa 66. I don't know if this is Lei Luo's own intention, or that one octopus suggestion. Oh no, that guy's called Floy now. In short, once Germa 66's strange bird judge is under Lei Luo's command again, we will be in trouble. While wiping his knife, the bald man sneered, Judge. Hey, it is said that he even invited the red-haired Shanks, what a grand gesture. There was sarcasm in the words, as if he, like the 5 elders in black, had seen through everything long ago. 5 elders in black tapped his fingers on the armrest of the seat. Lei Luo now controls 2 territories, and his troops are definitely not enough. When he gets married, all the staff will relax their vigilance, no matter what reason he invited Shanks, it's a stupid move. Shanks has already arranged everything. This marriage is not peaceful for him. Just wait and see. Lei Luo's sudden change from great joy to great sorrow. Ha ha ha. Almost at the same time, the branch headquarters of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce in the territorial waters of Red Hair Pirates. A short figure, less than 1.5 meters tall, turned into the secret room quietly after confirming that there was no one around. His figure was like a 6-year-old child, but there was a plump charm of an intoxicated man in his brows. It was Feng Karina Huali as one of the 4 attendants who have the full authority to manage the business of the Red Hair Pirates Linghai White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce. After confirming that no one was watching, Huali didn't make a sound, and dialed the phone bug. Hey, big sister head. She lowered her voice. Karina's natural and charming voice came from the phone bug. Wally. What's the matter? This is not your fixed contact number. That number is being tapped. You can't even imagine how much effort it took me to call you. Did the red-haired person take action against you? Get out. I'll arrange 12 people to pick you up. Karina asked. Huali whispered. No need. They haven't done anything to me yet. Advertisement. Listen to me, big sister. The information passed on to you was wrong. The Red Hair Pirates deliberately leaked false information to me. The real scheduled time for their men to attack the Sea of Nations is the day of your wedding with the boss, not the wedding. The last 3 days. I thought it was weird before. Since Red Hair has torn his face with the boss, why didn't he clear the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce station in the territorial waters of Red Hair Pirates? It turned out that he deliberately let me pass information to mislead you. Karina in the part about the phone bug clenched her fists. She was a sinister red-haired Shanks, but fortunately Huali was strong enough, otherwise it would be a disaster if she acted on the wrong information. Huali continued to lower his voice and said, also, as far as I know, Shanks contacted Blackbeard, but I can't find out the content of their conversation. I can only speculate that the red-haired Shanks may use Blackbeard in his attack on Wanguo Power, and even helped Blackbeard become emperor. Help Blackbeard become emperor. Karina took a deep breath. Such a red-haired Shanks, he is really a guy who can use everything to the extreme. In order to deal with Lei Luo, he even borrowed the power emperor of his old enemy. I see. Your information came very timely. Since they are about to attack Wanguo, they may soon begin to clear the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce in the territorial waters. Huali, you should withdraw first. Karina said sincerely that Huali is the smartest and most capable of the 4 servants, and she has done enough for the White Paper Flower. Huali lowered his voice. Don't worry, don't you know me, if something happens, I will be the first to run away. Karina didn't persuade again. Pay attention to safety. If you can't do anything, retreat immediately. Your safety is more important than anything else. Happy newlyweds, big sister head. The phone bug suddenly hung up. Days passed. The White Paper Flower Sea area is now bustling like never before. Especially in Ness's Island in the hinterland of the sea, one ship after another almost covered the offshore waters of the island. Countless streets on the island were decorated with lights, and red filled every 10 corners. In the very center there is a huge square. Tens of millions of seats are spread out, and Ian of the 4th team is leading more than 1,000 chefs and post-production support staff to be busy. The scene is extraordinarily grand and spectacular. The dazzling red-colored wedding scene was completely completed in a very short time under the arrangement of these pirates. Marco, who had rushed back from the Sea of Nations, had a look of joy on his face. Together with Ace, Yi Zhang and other captains, they all wore pitch-black suits, and the white paper flowers on their chests were replaced with red roses for the occasion. They warmly welcomed everyone. Guests on the road. Congratulations, Captain Lei Luo, for hitting 3 phoenixes with 1 arrow. The kid pirates came to congratulate, thanked Captain Lei Luo for disregarding the previous suspicions, and thank you for posting. Congratulations to Captain Lei Luo on his big marriage. Congratulations to Captain Lei Luo, Germa 66 is here to congratulate. May Captain Lei Luo and the 3 women live forever and be in love forever. Numerous compliments were uttered from the mouths of guests from all walks of life. The smiles on the faces of Marco and the others who welcomed the guests became brighter and brighter, and they also felt genuinely happy in their hearts. Their own captain is so awesome, and working under such an awesome captain, how can they not look good? 0. Ask for flowers. Advertisement. Not long after, a red-haired figure with a severed arm in a cloak appeared in everyone's field of vision. 4 Emperor's redhead Shanks too. There was a shout of salutation, and for a moment, thousands of eyes all cast their gazes in this direction. Damn, redhead Shanks, red hair. He was also attending Captain Lei Luo's wedding. I don't know. The relationship between the red hair and the white paper flowers is already close. Before the Whitebeard extermination battle, Shanks even helped Lei Luo, who was only the deputy captain at the time. But I heard that red hair and Captain Lei Luo had a very unpleasant quarrel in the 10,000 Nations Sea. This shows that Captain Lei Luo has a lot of face. Hehe, Shanks, how dare you withdraw the powerful defense generals in the 10,000 Nations Sea area? It seems that defeating Big Mom has completely changed the mentality of this young man, and he has become defiant. And Marco, the captain of the first team of the White Paper Flower Pirates, also came out immediately. Captain Shanks. Please, Captain Lei Luo is preparing for the wedding and asked me to meet Captain Shanks here. Long time no see, Marco. Anyone who could see it would be amazed at Shanks' incredible speed and power control. Because she found that her captain's eyes were as sharp as a falcon bending over to hunt at the moment, so sharp that it could cut a person's face. Shanks touched Lajulu behind him without a trace, and Lajulu crossed directly in front of Shanks, and shouted at Marco with a smile. How could it be? Boss, Captain Lei Luo has always been rich and powerful. I wish we could have more people to have fun. Right, Marco? Lei Luo is really extremely proud. Today I brought all the brothers I could bring to cheer for Lei Luo. There are a lot of people, don't mind. Because wanting to shatter a tangible object like dust in an instant without anyone knowing it is really appalling. Shanks said with a smile. At the same time, his eyes swept across the field very secretly, observing the 2 ghosts, the 3 demons, and the captains of the White Paper Flower Pirates without any trace. Good guy, these guys are there. Can't help but shrink up secretly. At this moment, in the lounge at the top of the high-rise building of the headquarters of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce, Lei Luo did not feel the slightest sense of slack about the wedding, but a cold smile faintly appeared on the corner of his mouth, making the people around him cheer for him. The maid who was arranging the suit and hairstyle was faintly terrified. All of a sudden, all kinds of whispered discussions swept through. Taking advantage of this short moment, Shanks pressed the phone bug on his waist, and an attack signal was sent out. At the same time, the palm of his hand exerted an invisible force, instantly shaking the phone bug into powder, and disappeared with the wind. This action was so fast that there was no trace searching. And only when the other party is laying out the layout will there be such a terrifying expression. Although Shanks and Captain Lei Luo had a very unpleasant quarrel, since the other party came to attend Captain Lei Luo's wedding, of course the etiquette must not be lost, otherwise, it would be a blank face. Advertisement. Chapter 142. Salute and Artillery, 2 Emperors Fighting Wisdom, Winning and Losing. Please subscribe. Advertisement. Marco's attention seemed to be completely attracted by Lajulu. That's natural. Thank you all for coming to support Captain Lei Luo. While talking, he assigned the leader at the front to a group of red hair pirates. Also at that table, Dracula Mahawk had already seated Perona with him. In fact, he had already arrived a day ago. With his coffin boat and Perona's superb sailing skills, it didn't take too much time to get from Krakana Island to Lei Luo's chassis. Seeing the red-haired group approaching, Hawkeye didn't stand up to say hello, but just met the red-haired Shanks' eyes, which was regarded as greeting. And not far from them are 3 shady guys. Even if you don't have to look at them with your eyes, you can tell who they are by the smell of rats in the sewer emanating from them. Morgans, Stussy, Della Ancient Pacolo, the so-called Dark World, Underground World, giants. I didn't expect Lei Luo's charge to be so violent. Look at this scene, these people. Lei Luo's face is probably not weaker than the red-haired Shanks. Stussy, who is the queen of the pleasure district on the surface, but in fact is the CP intelligence agent of the world Zhengfu, laughed, and deliberately told the words to Hongfaxiong, 160, Kex, but the other party didn't seem to hear. She said something boring. Seeing Stussy slumped, Morgans and Della were all smiles. It's inevitable, look over there, the red-haired Shanks has come to support Lei Luo in person. Dracula Bercolo was a little surprised but forced himself to remain calm and said. The waves that are higher than the shore will destroy the embankment, but the waves that can destroy the Lei Luo embankment have probably not yet been born. Morgans, the director of the news agency, echoed with some admiration, and at the same time, he didn't care about the high-precision camera in his hand. The future of this sea may be completely dominated by Lei Luo. Stussy said with emotion, but his invisible eyes recorded all the faces of the guests who came to the wedding. Find out how big Lei Luo's face is. This is the real purpose of her coming this time, and it is also the task assigned by CP, our 5 elders. Be confident, the future of this sea will be dominated by Lei Luo. Morgan's eyes were shining with a different kind of brilliance. Shanks' loss to Lei Luo may not be known to others, but he knew it clearly. The 3 giants of the underground world communicated with each other, and they all looked at each other and smiled. At this time, the wedding officially begins. Armed natural disaster Lei Luo walked out wearing a black costume, dotted with countless gold threads. The white paper flower on his chest was replaced with a red rose for the first time, and a faint smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. The burly and straight figure fascinated countless women present. Just looking at the broad arms gives people a strong feeling of wanting to rely on. Karina behind her is also dressed in luxurious black. The black wedding dress perfectly outlines her plump, slender figure. Purple hair is coiled up high, and the little red lips are so hot against the black wedding dress. The powerful big sister's head aura was also completely eliminated at this time. Karina lowered her eyebrows, and her beautiful eyes were full of soft light. The pirate queen Boa Hancock who appeared after that wore a white wedding dress. Her icy jade-like skin was perfectly set off, and the noble and domineering queen's aura was not easily revealed. But she reveals indescribable elegance in every word and deed. Watching Lei Luo tenderly, as the pirate empress, the ice-cold queen who has fascinated countless men, now she is completely in the posture of a little woman, shy and nervous. Charlotte Tegaret is completely different. Although his face was flushed under the gaze of everyone, there were still people who stood up, and the blue-colored Chujong who was close to his figure was enough for his figure. Advertisement. The graceful arc is perfectly displayed, the red lips are pursed, and the eyelashes on the eyes are trembling slightly. Black, white, blue, which one is big and which one is small, which one is respected and which one is humble, you can tell at a glance. The only one who can wear the same black as Lei Luo is Karina who has been with him the longest. At this moment, countless petals fell from the sky, and all the sunlight in the arena shone on them. The 4 of them were the focus of all eyes in the arena from the moment they appeared on the stage. Today is the day of great joy for Lei Luo, Karina, Boa Hancock, and Charlotte. In the huge venue, the top figures in this sea have basically arrived, and rising stars such as Kid, Hawkins, and Euroj are also gathered here. Everyone is celebrating and watching. Lei Luo and his 3 wives are officially married. And on the side of Dracul Mahawk, Perona felt a little dazed. Even though he is a straight man, Hawkeye smiled and said, "Why, the ghost girl also wants to stand up. Your gothic dress is very suitable, you don't need to change it again." Before Hawkeye finished speaking, he was punched on the head by Perona's fist. Of course he dodged. A pair of faintly resentful eyes made Hawkeye close his mouth, tactfully. I don't know how to make fun. Hawkeye's knowledge of interest didn't last long, making this girl so noisy on weekdays, seeing her holding her breath and having nowhere to vent, it's really comforting. If she really fell in love with Lei Luo and never bothered him again, it would be more comfortable. But Perona lowered her head thoughtfully as if she didn't hear Hawkeye's words. This man named Natural Calamity is really handsome. The table of Germa 66. Reiju looked at Lei Luo on the stage, a strange look flashed in his eyes. The word, perfect, was probably born for him. She is different from her younger brothers. Although she also has a body of copper skin and iron bones, her emotions have not been completely erased. Seeing a perfect opposite S*X like Lei Luo, she can't help but have some fantasies. One of the people beside Lei Luo is her. As for Yiji, Niji, and Yongji, they all stared at the table blankly, as if everything around them had nothing to do with them. In fact, that's what their father, Judge, asked for. The 3 sons see what kind of virtue a beautiful woman is. He, as a father, knows it all too well. If Lei Luo, who is so powerful that even Aunt Charlotte dares to kill the Emperor of the Sea, is angered by a momentary gaffe, this trip the trip of white paper flowers is going to be worth the candle. However, the octopus guy is still alive and has become a subordinate of the armed natural disaster Lei Luo. Judge was extremely shocked when he heard the news. The octopus Floyd guy is not only alive, he has also made brand new achievements in the field of blood factors. This trip to white paper flowers must get this technology no matter what, even if he becomes a vassal of Lei Luo. Inadvertently, Judge caught a glimpse of the gleam in the eyes of the eldest daughter Reiju when she looked at Lei Luo, and suddenly had a plan in her heart. Maybe Reiju and Lei Luo can get in touch more. While Lei Luo's wedding is in full swing, countless pirate ships are pouring into the waters of all nations. Come on, brothers, conquer all nations, grab treasures, and divide territories. The Red Emperor said, whoever captures the island will own it. Come on, bombard, hit hard. Boom boom. Advertisement. Boom, boom. Cannon fire raged all over the sky, and the sound of cannons sounded from all directions in the 10,000 nations sea at the same time, and the hot shells that were discharged from the chamber kept falling down in an airtight manner, bombarding the islands in the 10,000 nations sea like dense raindrops. Just for a moment, the islands trembled, the smoke and dust billowed, buildings collapsed, and the waves raised by the air waves rose and fell like a curtain, and the sounds of shouting and killing echoed everywhere, shaking the sky. Attack. Release the assault boat for landing. Under the cover of covering firepower, each pirate group began to release assault boats and make a strong landing. Don't stop the artillery fire, hit hard, use the fastest speed to conquer all nations. Come on, brothers, take down the islands of all nations, and use their heads to judge military achievements. More and more pirates are landing strongly. Her Crescent Moon Hunter Katarina Dupont, who came here under the order of Blackbeard, smiled strangely. It seems that the red-haired guy's information is true, and he really only picks the weakest defenses to strike. With these idiots taking the lead for us, Wang Guo will take it down soon. Although Doflamingo on the side couldn't speak, the mixture of hatred and happiness in his eyes was worth 1,000 words. Damn Lei Luo, occupying land everywhere, didn't expect you to have today, right? I took the great revenge of de Rees Rosa back then, and I will repay it to you today. You wait for me, the revenge of breaking my arms and disposing of my mouthpiece will be repaid in the future. Shall we go to? The huge 2.2 battleship San Juan Wolf, who was invincible in brute force but obviously not enough brains, asked everyone for their opinions. Kay Lakadar took a deep breath of his cigar. Don't worry, Senior Wolf, we won't do anything until these guys are nearly dead or injured. In order not to capture the territory, they still have the strength to fight with us. Kay Lakdal's eyes were sullen. Everything was destroyed by Lei Luo in the past, but today, the opportunity for revenge finally came. Shiryu of the Rain is taciturn, but his eyes are filled with bloodthirsty and anticipation. He has no hatred with Lei Luo, and he will not miss the chance to kill Lei Luo if he can. That's all he's had in his life. In half an hour. Come on, don't delay, my saber can't wait to drink blood. Clang, Shiryu's blood-stained demon sword thunderstorm unsheathed. Also almost at the same time. Boom, a thunder-like sound came from the island, followed by explosions from other islands far away. Damn it, there is an ambush on the island. Isn't that guy Lei Luo stuck in his tender land? The faces of the 5 members of Blackbeard's group changed drastically in an instant. Advertisement. Chapter 143. Ambush and Conflict in the Seas of All Nations. Subscribe. Advertisement. Back to a few minutes ago, on the edge of the Sea of Nations, a seemingly inconspicuous pirate ship was on the commanding height of the watchtower at the top of the mast. Yi Sabu, a sniper of red-hair pirates, was calm, pointing Zhongshan across a few sea miles. How long do you think it will take to break through the 10,000 nations sea? Yi Sabu said to Rox, a newcomer from red-hair pirates beside him. This time, it was a secret mission assigned by the red-haired boss. At all costs, to ensure that the seas of all nations were captured. Considering all possible situations, he asked the red-haired boss for the newcomer Rox, who offered a bounty of 94 million Baileys as an observer. Up to 5 hours, with so many people attacking, that arrogant guy Lei Luo called back all the strong defenders. Although there are a lot of people left behind, defense is much more difficult than offense. They stick to the island and are too passive to withstand consumption. Rox said, and made a reasonable analysis. 5 hours. Yi Sabu raised his eyebrows. You think too highly of these guys. Lei Luo's white paper flower pirates are different from us. We are taking the route of elite soldiers, and everyone on board has strong strength. Although Lei Luo is young and powerful, he is following the old path of Whitebeard. A peak powerhouse, a dozen top powerhouses and tens of thousands of mobs. Without these dozen leaders, what is left, no matter how many people are under it, it will not be able to withstand the impact. At most 3 hours and 30 minutes, this is still on the premise of calculating the travel time. Rox immediately echoed. Brother is right, at most 3.5 hours is enough to conquer the seas of 10,000 kingdoms. Let that Lei Luo who dares to fight against the red-haired boss learn a lesson. After this catastrophe, that Lei Luo will definitely learn to be good in the future, and never dare to fight against the red-haired boss again. These mobs without a leader can hold back the attack of the Red Emperor's army for more than 3 hours. The two chatted one after another, and agreed that it would only take 3 hours at most to completely break through all nations. If there is more time, they are all pirates under the command of the Red Emperor and incompetent soldiers from non-world conquering countries. Haha. Well said, since that's the case, let's wait and see. Yi Sabu laughed out loud, feeling happy. However, joking aside, as a sniper, he never took his eyes off the scope for a moment. His eyes fell on several members of the Blackbeard pirates through the sniper scope, and Yi Sabu frowned unconsciously. Are these guys still not taking action? Do you really think that they are called to come here to pick up cheap ones? Advertisement. I really don't understand what the red-haired old man is thinking about. Is it worth borrowing the power of these guys? Yi Sabu shook his head to get rid of distracting thoughts. But at this moment, his complexion changed drastically, and an extremely strong sense of crisis suddenly appeared in his heart, as if he had sensed something. Could it be that? Yi Sabu's body tensed instantly. The powerful intuition of the world's #1 sniper and every cell in his body strongly warned him that something big was about to happen. Even though he has lived for decades, he has never encountered such a feeling, as if the sky will collapse in the next second, and everything he planned will be in vain. This feeling is simply unprecedented. Boom. In the next moment, a thunder-like sound came from the island, and immediately after that, explosions continued to be heard from other islands far away. In a short moment, through the high-powered sniper scope, he clearly saw the fire on the nearest island, and the tyrannical air waves from the explosion spread to every corner of the island, and the land was turned into dust. The pirates who were still clamoring to capture the seas of 10,000 nations had their bodies blown to pieces. Brother Yesabu, what's going on here? The red-hair pirate's rookie Rox Dadu was stunned and didn't realize what happened at all. His eyes fell on Yisabu, and he never expected that Yisabu, who was full of ambition and seemed to easily grasp the overall situation, would suddenly turn pale, as if he had encountered a death situation. It was really inconceivable. He had never seen such an expression on the face of Yisabu, the #1 sniper in the world. Boom. Bang bang. Almost at the same time as the sound of violent explosions was heard on the island, countless waves burst into the sea in the distance, and the number of coated bubbles broke through the waves continuously. Inside each coated bubble is a pirate ship flying the flag of white paper flowers and skulls, instantly encircling the pirates who invaded the islands of all nations. And standing on the decks of the 3 leading ships are the 3 monsters of the white paper flower pirate group headed by the mountain monster Bullet. His Majesty Lei Luo has ordered that anyone who trespasses in the waters of the world will be killed without mercy. Quote exclamation mark quote. Following Bullet's order, the heaven-shaking shouts of killing sounded, and the forces left behind on the 10,000 islands and the forces previously lurking in the sea instantly wiped out the intruders. Bullet. Yisabu's eyes on the scope instantly widened. Damn it, there really is an ambush. Advertisement. But it shouldn't be. The order to attack was given by the red-haired boss himself. A crisp attack order, and no other news was sent back. The red-haired boss went to Lei Luo's wedding to confirm the situation over there, to confirm whether Lei Luo had really transferred all the guards of Wanguo away. Lei Luo's 3 demons are all deployed in the Sea of 10,000 Kingdoms. The red-haired boss who went to investigate the news has no reason not to know, but why didn't he explain this situation? Yisabu clenched the sniper rifle tightly in his hand, completely astonished and confused to the extreme. In the field. How come? Seeing that the good situation was reversed in an instant, the 5 members of the Blackbeard pirates froze, and they all suddenly understood. They were tricked and fell into the trap from the very beginning. Bai Zihua clearly let 787 them in on purpose, and then tightened the net to wipe them out in one fell swoop. Withdraw. Katarina Dupont gestured to the other 4 without hesitation. Neither Doflamingo, Clock Dar, nor Shiryu and the Evil Wolf are willing to fight. Now the situation is very clear. White Paper Flower has set up an ambush here in advance. If you break out and evacuate, you will not be able to leave even if you want to leave at night. However, they never had time to retreat. Since you're here, don't be in a hurry to leave, everyone. Bullet's thunderous voice sounded behind the 5 of Blackbeard's gang. Katarina Dupont said coldly, "It's good to get acquainted, and stay on the line when doing things, Bullet." Bullet glanced at the huge battleship San Juan Wolf. The body of the San Juan Wolf is comparable to a small island. The 3 warships are lined up. It's just that you are too conspicuous, I can't even ignore it. Suffer death. A playful voice sounded, and Bullet also raged violently. Blue's Armament Haki wrapped his whole body, and the casserole-sized fist slammed down on Katarina Dupont. Brother Yisabu, what should we do now? On the watchtower, a word from Rocks awakened Yisabu. Yisabu's expression instantly became extremely focused, his eyes glowed scarlet, and the seastone bullet was loaded and aimed at Bullet's head. Bullet, you are trying to disrupt the layout of the red-haired boss alone. I'm afraid it's a bit too close. Lei Luo coming in person is almost the same. Advertisement. Chapter 144. The Thorn in the Flesh of the White Paper Flower. Blackbeard and his gang occupy Liqueur Island. Please subscribe. Advertisement. The surrounding air seemed to be silent, on the narrow sniper position established by the watchtower on the top of the mast. Yisabu's breathing rate decreased rapidly, his muscles tensed, and his whole body merged with the sniper rifle in his hand, turning into a cold and bloodthirsty sniper stand. The eyes moved to the sniper scope, and within 0.1 second, the distance of 1,500 meters, wind speed, gravity and other factors that affect sniping were instantly calculated and formed in the mind. 1,500 meters, hit wherever you point, hit without fail. Clang clang clang. In the distance, Bullet and Blackbeard's gang had already fought each other. Bullet, who was wrapped in the pale blue Armament Haki, had a look of ferocity in his eyes. One punch and one kick knocked Doflamingo and locked Doll into the air. At this time, Shiryu of the Rain who was holding the demon sword Thunderstorm was entangled, and behind Shiryu, the black slap of Armament Haki wrapped by the huge battleship San Juan Wolf was slapping towards him at an extremely fast speed. At the same time, a hellish 2-headed wolf more than 10 meters long and a huge bad orc rushing with its fleshy wings also came into the sight of the sniper scope. It is the twin demon and the blood demon among the 3 demons. Yisabu stared intently at Bullet, predicting its movement trajectory, only this guy was completely within his range. It started with you, the descendant of the devil, no, the mountain demon. Seeing that the movement trajectory of the mountain demon Bullet was exactly as he predicted, Yisabu's eyes showed a gleam. Sudden, Yisabu's eyes touched the scope, and he shot quickly without hesitation for a millisecond. Chug. Within 5 seconds, 3 shots were fired. The twin demon brothers Hofteman and the blood demon Dracula who had just entered the shooting range were also not spared. At the moment when the bullet was fired, the 3 monsters seemed to be aware of it. Bullet, who was holding Shiryu in the rain, forcibly turned around in midair, avoiding the bullet and at the same time let Shiryu in the rain act as a shield. Hofteman the brothers split and reassembled to easily avoid the bullets, and the blood demon Dracula easily corroded the seastone bullets with a poisonous blood arrow. The seastone bullet is the nemesis of the capable person, but if it cannot hit the capable person, then it is meaningless. At the moment of dodging the bullet, Doflamingo and Lock Doll, who were hit by the bullet before, teamed up to find the twin demon Hoffman brothers, and the huge battleship San Juan Wolf confronted the blood demon Dracula. The Hoffman brothers are divided into two. The big brother Hoffman uses the poisonous smoke, and the younger brother Hoffman manipulates the fire of hell. After many years of running in tacit training, they can still display the terrifying combat power of 1+1 greater than 3 inches, let alone the Hoffman brothers, twin brothers who have been twins since birth. The original 7 warlords of the sea was crushed to death. As for the blood demon Dracula, in the form of a half-beast, he is playing the huge battleship San Juan Wolf around, as if a sparrow is fighting a huge African elephant. Although the sparrow can't do anything to the African elephant, but the huge African elephant is also helpless to the extremely flexible sparrow. Taking advantage of the 3 monsters entangled with the Blackbeard pirates, the defense forces of the Paper Flower pirates in the surrounding sea area are also under the command of the heavy lottery decamuplets and others to quickly wipe out the invaders. On the watchtower of the mast 1,500 meters away, Yesabu reloaded the seastone bullets, took aim, and fired in one go. Shiryu of the Rain has been forced into a disadvantage, and the moment he is about to blast his head with a punch, the tyrannical questioning color Haki issues a warning to Bullet, forcing Bullet to take a move and avoid the bullet. Exclamation mark! Another 2 shots were fired, and the Hoffman brothers, who were originally suppressing Doflamingo and Lockdoll, were forced to miss the best opportunity to kill the enemy, and Mingo and Sand Crocodile were able to recover. In order to dodge the seastone bullets, Dracula was almost smashed into meatloaf by the big hands of the San Juan Wolf. The 3 monsters looked at each other, and they all saw shock and uncertainty from the bottom of each other's eyes. That sniper hiding in the dark is too hateful. Every bullet is aimed at the vital point, making people have to dodge, but this guy has excellent control over the timing of his shots. Once he dodges, he has to give up the offensive and become more and more passive. Absolutely accurate auxiliary ability, even the ability to kill. This is the really scary place of a powerful tactical sniper. In a life and death confrontation like this, a sniper with perfect concealment can have too much impact on the battle situation. Damn it. If you have the ability to come out and fight Grandpa to the death, what kind of ability is it to sneak a cold gun? While suppressing Brother Ming and the Sand Crocodile, the Huffdemon brothers roared into the air. And in the next moment, being so easily affected by the enemy's mentality, is that what I taught you? Lei Luo's voice came suddenly. Boss Lei Luo. Seeing Lei Luo suddenly appearing, the Hoffdemon brothers were stunned at the same time, with one body and 2 faces stunned. Advertisement. Isn't the boss supposed to be at the wedding at this time? So it will come to the Sea of All Nations. Careful, he is not the boss of Lei Luo. The mountain demon Bullet realized something instantly and let out a loud drink, but the reminder was half a beat too late. I saw Lei Luo violently punch the Hoffman brothers, and at the same time, sudden. Another shot. The Hoffman brothers who flew upside down hurriedly split their bodies, trying to avoid the seastone bullet, but there was no time at all. Hoff was still hit by the seastone bullet, and blood gushed out, and Hoffman on the side also fell to his knees violently. On the ground, waves of powerlessness continued to invade the whole body. They are twins in one body. Although they can be separated temporarily by relying on the form of the Zone Phantom Beast, the Hell Two-Headed Wolf, they are still essentially the same body. There is no difference between one person being injured and 2 people being injured. And the Lei Luo, in front of everyone, also transformed into a crescent moon hunter Katarina Deppen with 9 fox tails. In fact, her appearance has never changed, but only for people within a certain range to see Lei Luo. Luo's phantom is nothing more, and this is just one of the abilities of the 9-tails fox form of the Zone Phantom Beast species. Seeing Katarina Deppen raised her spear towards the Hoffman brothers on the ground, Dracula and Bullet rushed to the rescue at the same time with a burst of speed comparable to flying. And after seeing Bullet and Dracula attacking her at the same time, Katarina Deppen's eyes were also fixed. At this time, she can certainly kill the Hoffman brothers, but the siege of Bullet and the bloodbath, she can't stand it. This trip is to pick a bargain, it's not worthwhile to take my own life. Quickly retracted the gun and retreated, shouting at the same time, retreat. Get out of here. The 5 members of Blackbeard's group quickly evacuated to the edge of the Sea of 10,000 Nations, and at the sniper position of the watchtower 1,500 meters away, Yisabu's gaze on the sniper scope eased slightly. He took out his phone and dialed. The 3 demons of the white paper flower are in the Sea of 10,000 Kingdoms, the Red Emperor's coalition forces have been defeated, and Blackbeard and his gang are fleeing to the edge of the sea. Please instruct. Ben Beckman's slightly shocked voice came from the phone bug. Activate the second plan. Yes. Hanging up the phone, Yisabu contacted Blackbeard's puzzled Katarina Deppen again. Don't run away. The people of the Red Emperor's coalition forces are temporarily entrusted to you to command, and to occupy a piece of territory from the nations to the greatest extent. I will help you restrain the 3 demons. The territory captured is yours, how much you can take is up to you. Katarina Deppen's displeased voice came from the other end of the phone. Are you the one who shot coldly just now? It seems that the red hair has long been prepared, but did not inform us. This is not the attitude towards a partner. Yisabu said coldly. I have already explained clearly, what to do next is up to you. The voice fell, and the phone also hung up. Katarina Deppen, who was leading the Blackbeard pirates to retreat to the edge of the sea, had a strange look in her eyes, remembering how the other side frequently helped them when they had a brief fight with the 3 white paper flower monsters, and he muttered to himself, Maid, I will trust you again. Everyone, speed up and reach the next island on the edge of the world as soon as possible, relying on the terrain to establish a defensive position. Clear. Blackbeard and his gang fled quickly, and with the help of their subordinates, the seastone bullets that had penetrated into Hoff's body were also taken out. Without the influence of the seastone's special magnetic field, Hoff's injuries were also recovering visibly to the naked eye. The three monsters boarded the bow, and seeing the Blackbeard gang running away and the pirate coalition army that came to invade the world, Dracula coldly ordered the three armies, catch up. No one will be killed. Half an hour later, Liqueur Island on the edge of the Sea of Nations was off the coast. The sea water was stained red with blood, and the coast was covered with corpses one after another. There were allied forces who came to invade the Sea of Nations, and there were also the forces of the White Paper Flower Pirates. How about it, Bullet, even you can't conquer this Liqueur Island. The Crescent Moon hunter Katarina Dupont stood on the coast of the island and smiled strangely. This island concentrated all the remaining troops of the Red Emperor's coalition forces, and they, Blackbeard and the others, were responsible for intercepting the high-end members of the White Paper Flower Pirates. Combat power. Just relying on the three demons to attack. Hey, even if Lei Luo came in person, he might not be able to break through the blockade. And the three monsters on the ghost boat have so gloomy faces that they can drip water. These bastards, that sand crocodile, change the terrain near the coast, sand is everywhere, and under the sand is Doflamingo woven with thread the trap, just these two guys teaming up, cut off the battle plan of Baizihua's army to land on the island, because as soon as those pirates who are only at the common level of strength fall into the ability of these two former Shichibukai, they will immediately kill them. Was obliterated. But what is even more irritating is the sniper hiding in the dark. Whenever the three monsters want to rush into the island to fight, Blackbeard and his gang will immediately rush out to intercept them, and then the damned sniper will shoot coldly, aiming at the vital points, forcibly disrupting their login operations. They were forced to besiege and not attack this Liqueur Island, even if they were extremely aggrieved and angry, they were helpless. A top strategic sniper can easily change the outcome of a war. This is really not a joke. Dai Peng, don't be too arrogant. Advertisement. We can't go up, and you can't come down, just wait and stay on this island for the rest of your life. Bullet's eyes glowed coldly, and he retorted. Katarina Dapin, who smiled strangely, became more and more arrogant. Okay. Anyway, this island has no worries about food and drink, and there are endless liqueurs. Even if I stay on this island for a lifetime, my mother is willing. Tisk tisk. This is much more comfortable than being in the impelled down deep sea prison. Listening to the other party's arrogant words, Bullet's face changed from cloudy to sunny. The 34 islands of Wangguo are different from other islands. Each island has an extremely rich output of special food resources. The food resources produced are enough to supply the daily food and drink of 20,000 to 30,000 people. It is obviously impossible for the opponent to run out of ammunition and food. At this time Katarina Dupont continued to clamor. I said Bullet, do you think this is good? Let's discuss it. Anyway, there are 34 large islands in the Sea of Nations, and you White Paper Flower Pirates can't manage them. Why don't you leave this Liqueur Island to our Blackbeard gang? Don't worry, we will continue the old system of BIGMOM, and offer you the best ingredients on this island every month. What is it called? Royal Offering Ingredients. Katarina Dupont's words made all the pirates around laugh. Ha 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 ha. The extremely piercing exaggerated laughter made Bullet's iron fists loosen and tighten and loosen again. Damn, these damned guys actually want to take root in the Sea of 10,000 Kingdoms. Today's 10,000 Nations sea area has become the territory of the White Paper Flower Pirates. If these guys are really rooted here like a nail in the flesh, the White Paper Flower Pirates will not lose face. Where to put it? Give me a stare at them. Bullet shouted loudly, turned around and entered the cabin, took out his phone and called Lei Luo. Boss, the pirate coalition forces that invaded the Sea of All Nations have been repulsed, but Blackbeard and his gang have become the leaders of the pirate coalition forces, and they are now entrenched on Liqueur Island. Outside, snipers with 100 shots are targeting us secretly, making us unable to attack Liqueur Island for a long time, so we can only surround good, instead of attacking. That sniper, suspected to be Yasubu from Red Hair Pirates. 3 shots in 5 seconds, attacking different people, aiming at vital points. This is not something common snipers can do. There was some noise on the other end of the phone, and Lei Luo's voice could not be heard very clearly. I see. Keep the status quo, just surround them. I want to see how long they can stay on the island. Remember, anyone who comes down from the island will be shot and killed. Yes, Bullet agreed, and Bug hung up the phone. Lei Luo's eyes fell on the red-haired Shanks not far away without any trace, and it can be concluded that the sniper is Yisabu, because the 3 people who have always been inseparable from the red-haired Shanks. In the group Ben Beckman, Yesabu, and Lajulu, only Yasubu was not there, but Bullet and the others did not get any proof that could directly prove that the sniper in the Sea of Nations was Yesabu. The world's #1 sniper. If it breaks, the red-haired Shanks will be so sad that he wants to cry, right? At this time, Ben Beckman, who had temporarily left the seat, came back suddenly, whispered something in Shank's ear, and the eyes of the red-haired Shanks changed visibly with the naked eye. His eyes first glanced at the 3 monsters under the ceremony platform, and there were bursts of unconcealable shock and disbelief in his eyes. The mountain demon Dagger's Bullet, the white-haired one is the blood demon Dracula, and the one with 2 heads is the twin demon Hoffman brothers. Lei Luo's 3 demons are obviously at the wedding. Live. Pregnant. But just now Ben Beckman came to report that Yesabu had encountered the 3 white paper flower demons in the Sea of 10,000 Kingdoms, and through the strength of the other party, he was identified as the 3 demons themselves. If so, who are those 3 standing under the wedding platform? Lei Luo. Ah, Lei Luo, what kind of medicine are you selling in your gourd? Shanks' eyes fell on Lei Luo, and they just collided with Lei Luo's eyes. The eyes of the 2 sea emperors seemed to spark sparks in the air, but it seemed. No. Advertisement. Chapter 145, Light and Darkness. Lei Luo's strong confrontation with the red hair. Please subscribe. Advertisement. The 2 sea emperors glanced at each other, as if they were surprised by each other's arrangement, and the imperceptible smell of gunpowder permeated the wedding scene. The 2 gazes split at the touch of each other. Lei Luo smiled lightly, and the red hair also raised his wine glass to signal to him. The wedding went on. First of all, even the clergy of the church don't know how to preside over the oath. One groom has 3 brides. The clergy have never seen such a wedding oath in their life. Then came the cutting of the cake. The wedding cake baked with various ingredients from the 34 big islands of the world was cut into countless pieces and delivered to the guests. Lei Luo personally delivered the cake to the red-haired Shanks. The red-haired dude came to my wedding in person and gave a big gift. I'm really flattered. The last time I missed your enthronement ceremony, I regretted it in every possible way. Naturally, I will not miss this brother's big wedding. Since it is a wedding, there is no reason not to give gifts. As long as the brother likes it. Shanks also chuckled. What the hell? The relationship between Lei Luo and Shanks is really as good as rumored. The red hair almost brought the whole team of red hair pirates to support Lei Luo, and now Lei Luo came off the stage in person to deliver cakes to Shanks. The relationship between the 2 is not so good. Bigmom is dead, and now Lei Luo and Hongfa are as close as a family, so how far will it be to wipe out Kaido of the beasts? 603 The Sea of the Future 4 emperors may no longer exist. Lei Luo and Shanks, white paper flowers and red hair, 2 emperors are enough. There were constant murmurs of discussion from various seats in the distance. These guys who didn't know the truth had no idea that the gunpowder-flavored confrontation between Lei Luo and Shanks had already started. The so-called Great Gift, of course, refers to the war that broke out in the Sea of Nations. Come and don't reciprocate. Now that you have received a big gift from Shanks, it's not far away to return the gift. Lei Luo's burning eyes fell on Shanks' face, and he continued. Don't worry, brother, this gift in return must not be lighter than your great gift. It is worthy of your status as the Emperor of the Sea. Hearing Lei Luo's seemingly pointed words, Shanks' heart sank gradually, but he remained calm on the surface. Okay, then I'll just wait and see. Lei Luo smiled and cupped his hands at Shanks. I'm going to greet other guests, so feel free. Shanks also bowed his hands. It's easy to say. Advertisement. When Lei Luo turned to leave, Shanks' complexion darkened instantly. He pulled Lajalu, who was hugging a fat chicken, and said in a low voice, You set off immediately to lead the elite team to support Yisubi. Quote. Yes, the unprecedented wedding of armed natural disaster Lei Luo was lively on the bright side, but AEFJ drew down the curtain in the turbulent atmosphere behind the scenes. Next morning, Lei Luo broke away from the gentle village surrounded by jade arms. Are you up? Karina, who was sitting at the desk, had already changed into her old professional attire. She was able to deal with all kinds of information collected from the 2 sites of Beizihua and Wangguo shrewdly. Her brows were a little tired. Why don't you get more sleep? Lei Luo flicked Karina for a brain collapse. Karina waited on Lei Luo to get dressed, and at the same time said, I have been used to it for so many years, and suddenly I was told to be lazy, so I couldn't sleep. Lei Luo took Karina into his arms. You have paid too much these years. Then how will you compensate me? Lei Luo frowned, teasingly said, The future will be long. Karina blushed, and punched Lei Luo's chest with a fist. Speak seriously. Floy has recently produced a lot of research results, many of which are of great help to the improvement of our overall power. Do you want to go and see it? Lei Luo nodded. Of course he is going. Even the red-haired Shanks couldn't see through the false 3 monsters at the wedding. This is one of the things Floy developed by using the blood factor map. Using the target's hair and nails as raw materials and extracting the necessary substances, it can be imitated a stand-in with the same breath as the main body and 10% of the main body's strength. Even the breath can be faked. This is the real reason why the red-haired Shanks was confused by the substitute of the 3 demons yesterday and couldn't see the authenticity. And this is just the result of Floyd's extremely small experiment. Karina took out a completed form. I've listed all the things that you need to handle personally. The first thing is the guy with Hawkeye. I always said that I hope you will give him a face to fight with him. The guy who lives in Ness's island in the guest room. The other is the group of people from Germa 66, I hope you can meet them. Advertisement. Bullet and the others said that they have wiped out all the invaders in the Sea of 10,000 Kingdoms, but the pirate alliance led by the 10 Blackbeards on Liqueur Island has been unable to attack for a long time. I will help you deal with everything else. Lei Luo pondered for a moment. Hawkeye's side is left to dry first, and the food and drinks are served. The same is true for Germa 66. Now Judge has a request from us, so let's leave it to dry first, and the etiquette is regular. Yeah, Karina nodded obediently. Lei Luo went on to say. Inform Bullet to focus on the construction and restoration of Wangguo, and then send Marco, Chaozi, Bista and Yi Zhang there, and 6 people from the 12 groups will also be sent to Wangguo, establish a chamber of commerce, and develop the economy. If you want to truly take the nations as your own, it's not enough to just take them down. You need to develop the economy in the fastest way, capture people's hearts, and eliminate the legacy of the BIGMOM regime. Only in this way can you truly take over this territory. As for Liqueur Island, there must be at least 3 top fighters and 3 medium-sized pirate groups staring there every day to cut off all communication between the island and the outside world. Since they finally went up, don't let them come down easily. When we really will, Guahai territory eats them, and it will not be too late to clean them up slowly. Yes, Karina agreed and went to work immediately. And Lei Luo came down from the lounge on the top floor of the Chamber of Commerce, all the way to the underground laboratory. Boss, these are the results of my research during this time. Floyd cleared out 3 laboratory benches, which were filled with his scientific works. The first thing Lei Luo noticed was a dark blue artificial smile devil fruit. The previous smile artificial devil fruit was a deep red and pink color, which was completely different from the one in front of him. Floyd explained. This is a new product after I broke through and improved the smile artificial devil fruit formula based on the bloodline factor. I call it smile artificial devil fruit 2.0. After eating it, the probability of gaining abilities will increase to 100% 50, greatly improving the success rate of acquiring abilities. But the disadvantages are equally obvious. Once the ability to acquire fails, there will be no enhanced people like beasts pirates, but they will directly explode and die. Lei Luo nodded. That's right. Even so, there are a lot of people rushing to buy the smile man-made devil fruit that has increased the probability of obtaining abilities. Tell Man Shueli to get rid of all the original man-made devil fruit as soon as possible, and the new man-made devil fruit after mass production, it will be put into the market, and the price will be tripled. Clear. Floyd promised, and picked up a can of milk white semi-solidified that was sealed in liquid nitrogen. This is a weapon of mass destruction seized from Quinn's advanced Brachiosaurus, Ice Ghost, and I have also improved it. Coverage has tripled. The spreading speed of the virus that caused the poisoned person to go berserk has also been doubled, and the outbreak time is limited. As long as the time expires, the virus will evaporate immediately. Even if this weapon is used in front of one's own house, there will be no follow-up effects. Lei Luo nodded. The Ice Ghost is a good thing. It is more lethal than the Plague Bomb. With it, it will be easier and faster to attack the city in the future. But this is not what Lei Luo wants to see the most. He looked up at Floyd and asked, I asked you to study something that can help our soldiers improve their combat effectiveness. Is there any result? Advertisement. Chapter 146. The Pure Gold Conjecture and the Red-Haired Man Behind the Scenes. Please subscribe. Advertisement. Floyd put a smile on his face. Boss, when have I let you down? The octopus robotic arm behind him poked at the wall, and the hidden compartment on the wall opened, revealing an emerald injection and a scarlet injection. Emerald green is a genetic modification drug. By reprogramming the genetic code, it can greatly improve a person's physical ability, strength, endurance, speed, burst, healing. This kind of improvement is all round. I estimate the success rate at about 50%. Clinical trials have not yet been launched, and there is no way to get more accurate data, but what is certain is that once the pain of reprogramming genes cannot be endured, they will die suddenly. People below the captain are recommended to dilute 3 inject after times. Crimson's medicine is a gene riot potion. I call it 3 minutes from hell. When you inject the potion into your body, you will immediately get an all-round improvement that is 3 times higher than usual. The time limit is 3 minutes. People will be tortured like 1,000 cuts, also for 3 minutes. I am designing and improving this potion. What is the cost of these 2 medicines, and can they be popularized by thousands of people? Lei Luo asked. Floyd nodded affirmatively. Of course, the cost of these things is not low, but with our waste of money, we can afford it. A smile finally appeared on Lei Luo's face, and he patted Floyd's shoulder heavily. Good job. Then your work focus will be on this in the next 6 months. Put these 2 medicines into mass production. Everyone who is really armed to the top of the white paper flower, arms the white paper flower to the teeth. Yes, Floyd promised with confidence, and then asked Lei Luo for instructions. As for the technology in the bloodline factor map, I want to share the research, stand in Dal, with Germa 66, of course it's not for nothing. If you want to share our technology, that old weird bird judge must share Germa 66's artificial soldier technology and battle suit technology with us. Boss, what do you think? Lei Luo joked. Is that why you asked Germa 66 to attend the wedding? Then he said, you can make up your own mind on this. In short, you just need to remember that the bloodline factor map is a big deal, and everything should be careful. The technological strength of Germa 66 is not strong, but it is not weak. If Floyd can really obtain Germa's battle suit technology as Floyd imagined, the strength of the white paper flower pirates will definitely be overwhelming. Take it to a new level. Yes, Floyd replied forcefully. Also, if the boss wants to improve the strength of the pirates under his command, why don't you try this? Advertisement. Floyd picked up a dagger from the table and made a volleying stabbing motion. In the next second, the tip of the dagger turned into a thin iron wire snake, striking out forcefully. The technology of feeding devil fruit to weapons. Lei Luo asked. Floyd nodded heavily. That's right. This technology, which was blocked by the world government in the past, is no longer a secret to us now. If we collect a large amount of devil fruit, even if it's just the cheapest zone common fruit, in addition, this technology can quickly create an army with terrifying combat effectiveness, and it also avoids the disadvantages of being afraid of seawater and seastone like capable people, and the sea and underwater operations will be more flexible. Lei Luo shook his head and said, weapons are more difficult to manage than people's hearts, and the risk of leakage is too great. Let's equip this technology for the captains first, and get a set for Agent and Rudolph. Floyd felt that Lei Luo had a point. Understood. After checking the research results obtained by Floyd based on the bloodline factor map during this time, Lei Luo asked another question. By the way, how about the research on pure gold? Floyd, who was excited to introduce various scientific products to Lei Luo last second, froze suddenly. Boss, forgive me. Lei Luo waved his hand casually. Tell me, are you in a bottleneck? Floyd said very depressed. It's not a bottleneck, it's a dead end. I've tried thousands of methods, but there are only two things I can come up with, either useless failures, or pure gold. No matter how I refine the purity of the material, I still can't make what you want. Boss, does the pure gold you mentioned really exist? Lei Luo said with certainty. Of course it exists, it's just lost. Floyd said thoughtfully. Then there is something wrong with my method. Existence is reasonable, I just haven't found that reasonable method. In terms of purification, no one in the world can do better than me. Lei Luo nodded. He did not doubt this. Floyd was not only a powerful Frankenstein, but also an extraordinary demon fruit power. Paramesha extracting fruit could allow him to extract. No one knows how to extract the desired substance better than Floyd. At this time, Floyd went on to say, so, I was thinking, could pure gold be impure at all? Or, it is not entirely made of high purity gold. Thing. Lei Luo's expression was slightly condensed, but this possibility is not impossible. Advertisement. Taking bronze as an example, bronze is an alloy produced by adding pure copper to metals other than zinc and nickel, and bronze is just a name. 0. Asking for flowers. So, is pure gold also a special synthetic metal, rather than pure high-purity gold concentrate? Patting Floyd on the shoulder, Lei Luo said solemnly, do according to your ideas, all the consequences will be borne by me in the Chamber of Commerce, just let go of your hands. Science, isn't it just summed up through continuous experiments? The truth. Floyd looked a little excited. Yes. Boss, don't worry, I will do it with your words, and I will never let you down. Meanwhile, Morgan's news agency has an unexpected visitor. Shanks of the Four Emperors. What the hell are you trying to do? Albatross Morgans watched with trepidation as the red-haired Shanks sat behind his desk, flipping through the press release he had just written. Shanks put his feet on the desk, as if he didn't hear what Morgan said, and read the press release to himself. 4 emperors armed with natural disaster. Lei Luo married 3 brides at once unprecedentedly, this arrogant sea thief. 4 emperors. Red-haired Shanks came to congratulate on the morning of the wedding day, participated in the whole process of the wedding, and had a close relationship with the armed natural disaster Lei Luo. Does this mean that the 2 emperors of the sea are publicly linked? After reading 2 paragraphs, Shanks sneered. Is this what you wrote? Today's newspaper. Morgan's was sullen, with sweat rolling down his face and nose. The purpose of the news agency is to let the world know the truth. I'm just telling the truth from an objective point of view. Shanks threw away the press release in his hand, and took out another copy from his arms and threw it to Morgan's. At the same time as the release was thrown, the Conqueror's Haki on Shanks released a trace of incomparable and strong oppression, instantly covering Morgan's. Morgan's just felt like falling into hell, extremely depressing, so depressing that people could not breathe, as if there were hellish wind and ghost howling resounding in his ears, making people shudder and creepy. If you insist on describing this feeling, your body is anesthetized, but your nerves are not. It was as if there were hundreds of snakes gnawing at the flesh and blood on his body. He could clearly feel it, but he couldn't struggle. He could only watch himself die slowly. Today's news, post this. As the voice fell, the breathless and domineering aura suddenly disappeared. When Morgans looked up with a heavy breath, the red-haired Shanks behind the desk had disappeared. Spreading out the manuscript left by Shanks, the words that came into view are, the rising new emperor, Blackbeard B, who is embedded like a nail in the sea of all nations. Advertisement. Chapter 147. The Lei Luo new emperor who has been ridiculed to the fullest. Please subscribe. Advertisement. Thinking back to Conqueror's Haki with red hair all over his body, Morgans also passed this horrific press release to the 5 elders among the powerful with lingering fear. However, just 10 minutes later, I received a reply from the CP organization serving the world Zhengfu, with only 2 short words. Do it. Morgans was stunned for a while. The professional sense of the world's #1 journalist made him smell something unusual. Even if 5 elders agrees with the press release of red-haired Shanks, they will never let him copy it directly. Perhaps the relationship between red-haired Shanks and 5 elders. Hiss. A breath of cool air sucked into his lungs, a icy cold, bone-chilling chill spread from Morgan's scalp to between his toes. Quickly copied a copy of the press release, and urgently stopped the current newspaper printing, replanned the decision of the entire newspaper, and took out an entire A side to report on the new emperor, Blackbeard. The weird, 343, is that, except for side of the newspaper, the rest of the boards all reported the grand wedding of the 4 emperors armed natural disaster Lei Luo. After a series of printing and distribution, this intriguing newspaper spread to every corner of the world. In the raging sea, on top of the golden tesoro sailing through the wind and waves, the highest building made of pure gold, in the lounge of the Golden Dome. Tanaka was holding up the newspaper with great difficulty, and in front of him was the golden dieter Zoro leaning on the dancer's arms, with champagne in his left hand and a cigar in his right. Ha 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 ha. Tesoro suddenly burst into laughter, and the dancers and singers in the waiting room also laughed together. This is the rule of the Golden City. You can only laugh when the Golden Emperor Tesoro laughs, and you must laugh. Only Lord Gold Tesoro can decide what is funny. This four emperors armed natural disaster Lei Luo is a bit interesting. He killed Charlotte's aunt on the front foot, and then married the 18th daughter of the Charlotte family on the back foot. He was also together with the pirate queen Boa Hancock. What a sight Haki, it is a deterrent 4 seas. The 3 ultimates are stunning. Tesoro sighed inwardly, and then said with a strange smile, but now this guy can't even handle the Blackbeard who peed at his door. The more beautiful it is, the faster the face slap will come, and the more painful it will be. Looking at it now, Lei Luo's name is no match for Whitebeard after all, it's unbelievable. Tanaka. Tesoro suddenly called out to his most loyal subordinates. Advertisement. Exist. In fact, Tanaka had been holding the newspaper in front of him the whole time. Tesoro smiled sullenly. Follow up on this matter. If necessary, the bonus for the white paper flowers can be adjusted, understand? An emperor who can't even look down on his family is not worthy of his golden emperor's bonus. Yes. Meanwhile, the ghost island of Wanokuni, built in a castle inside a giant skull. Kaido was flipping through the newspaper delivered by Yenjuo Jin, his sinister and vicious gaze made Jin beside him shudder. Since returning from the white paper flower territory last time, Governor Kaido has become extremely stinging, which makes people feel drummed when they look at it. Follow the new king's trick of marrying a subjugated princess. Lei Luo, Charlotte's old woman's place, you can't eat it. It's the same even if you marry a woman from the Charlotte family and strengthen your rule. Kaido muttered, but he was looking at side of the newspaper, the one that reported the rise of Blackbeard. The pattern of the 4 emperors standing at the same time cannot be broken. Lei Luo wants to control the 2 territories and ride on the heads of the remaining 2. Neither he nor the red-haired kid will agree. When a person's ambition is far greater than his strength, he is not far from death. Lei Luo's stupid approach will only bring him endless challenges. In this case, Kaido pondered for a moment. Jin. Governor, I'm here, Kaido said in a loud voice. Contact Apu, and then send Runty and Peggy Wan to support him. Go to Wangguo Sea to have some fun for Lei Luo. Jin's face changed. Apu is the captain of the broadcast pirates. On the surface he is one of the most evil generations, but secretly he is the son of the Beast's pirates, responsible for discovering new blood of the same period for the Beast's pirates. And Runty and Peggy Wan are the hidden high-level cadres of the Beast's pirates, both of them are one of the Flying 6 cells, both are extremely strong zone ancient species demon fruit power. Just to create a little trouble for Lei Luo, Governor Kaido actually planned to dispatch such a powerful force. Governor, Apu is our dark son who has always maintained the status of one of the supernovas of the extremely evil generation. Runty and Peggy Wan are also hidden Flying 6 children. Now let them be exposed to the public, isn't it? Before he finished speaking, Kaido's unquestionable gaze fell on Jin, so that he had to swallow the rest of the words tremblingly, in exchange for a promise. Yes, this subordinate will arrange it now. Advertisement. And in the first half of the Grand Line, which is called a paradise, in the Magic Triangle Sea area shrouded in dense fog all the year round. In the castle of the Thriller Bark, Blackbeard Marshal D. Teach held the newspaper delivered by the bad zombie Hilton. His face was so gloomy that water dripped out. Just a few minutes before the newspaper was delivered, he just got to know the real situation of the 5 powerful subordinates he sent through the phone bug with Shiryu and others in the sea area of Wangguo, and was defeated by Lei Luo's white paper flower pirates. Trapped on the Liqueur Island at the edge of the Sea of All Nations, riding a tiger is hard to get off, in a dilemma. Then I saw the red-headed headline in the newspaper, the new emperor who rises strongly, Blackbeard embedded in the seas of all nations like a nail. Fame really resounds throughout the entire Great 2.1 route, but when a person's false name is far greater than his real strength, he is not far from death. Blue, blue, blue. Suddenly, the phone bug on his body rang out. Blackbeard suddenly had a creepy feeling like falling into an ice cave, as if there was a cold lion majesty lying on his back that was about to launch a fatal blow at any time. Blackbeard's eyes were instantly bloodshot, he connected to the phone bug, and roared, "Damn Shanks. How dare you come to lousy. Should have known redhead Shanks the B********** D had no good intentions. Pooh. Blackbeard felt extremely remorse at this moment, was too eager for quick success, and was used as a gun by the red-haired Shanks. Isn't this setting him on fire? Before Blackbeard could finish speaking, a very playful voice came from the other end of the phone. Well. Blackbeard, please don't be so excited. I just called to say hello, you see it's just what the newspaper thinks. The phone bug's head turned into red hair, with 3 claw-like scars at the corners of the eyes. Red hair Shanks. It was calculated. The most irritating thing is that this time the troops were dispatched, the interests and benefits were not obtained, the territory was not taken down, and the 5 capable men were trapped in the Sea of 10 Nations, and the new emperor was rising strongly. This report directly pushed him to the opposite of Lei Luo, the 4 emperors armed natural disaster. Although he was originally on the opposite side of Lei Luo, there is a big difference between the open and the dark. Tell you, you make lousy feel bad, and you will never feel good too. Forced to come from the dark side to the bright side, there will be countless pairs of eyes staring at him. This is tantamount to pushing him to the cusp and setting him on fire. I may not be your opponent, but not all of your subordinates are as powerful as you. Advertisement. Chapter 148. Blackbeard who got the soul fruit. Please subscribe. Advertisement. Fame resounds throughout the sea, isn't this what you have always wanted? I have helped you realize the first step of your plan. I keep my word. Blackbeard gasped for a while, his chest heaved up and down like a fast-running bellows, and the layers of fat on his chest kept shaking. B********************. D. You keep your word. You said you conquered all nations, and my people are now trapped on that ruined island. You said you supported me to ascend the throne to check and balance Lei Luo, but you clearly lured me out so that Lei Luo could have a good time killing me. Fortunately, Laozi didn't go all out, otherwise. Before he could finish his sentence, the red-haired voice came again, faintly reprimanding. Hey Blackbeard, can't you bear the consequences after making your own decision? Are you still a pirate? After finishing the sentence, the red-haired Shanks continued. As I said, you can take as many islands as you want. Your people are incompetent, so what have I got to do with you? To help you, I also hired 2 cadres. You are useless if I give you a chance. Now, there are 2 paths in front of you. First, cooperate with me. The conditions are still the same. I will help you become the emperor and check and balance for Lei Luo. Second, the deal between you and me will stop here, and I will withdraw all my people from the 10,000 kingdoms. Choose one. 1 minute, think carefully. Listening to the domineering and indisputable red-haired voice coming from the phone bug, Blackbeard's fat fists loosened and loosened again. How could she lose everything and be under his control? Shiryu and the others made it clear before that the ability to block the attack of the white paper flower depends entirely on the top strategic sniper under the red hair. Once the red hair Shanks withdraws, Shiryu, Depeng and others on the island will face a devastating blow. The Blackbeard pirates, which had just established a cadre framework, would lose half of their combat power again. A man can bend and stretch. At this moment, if you can bear it, you have to bear it. If you can't bear it, you have to bear it. With a plan in mind, Blackbeard said to the phone bug, whether you help or not, Laozi is leaving for the position of the 4 emperors. After saying something tough, Blackbeard's words suddenly changed. What to do next? The faint laughter of red-haired Shanks came from the other end of the phone. He who knows the current affairs is a hero. Very good Blackbeard. I will continue to stir up public opinion, and you must continue to increase troops to Wangguo, and take at least 1/3 of the territory of Wangguo, otherwise, you will not be able to seal this emperor. Do as I say, and wait for the news. At the same time as the voice fell, the phone bug also hung up. Advertisement. Boom. The angry Blackbeard slammed the bug on the ground. Mad, damn Shanks. Who do you think you are, to order Laozi like that? Wait, you wash my neck and wait. Laozi was able to lurk in the Whitebeard pirates for more than 20 years and finally get the dark fruit, and now he can continue to lurk until the one who kills you. Blackbeard's resentful voice stopped abruptly. Just now, he inexplicably felt a sudden whim, and could clearly feel an incomparably tyrannical energy descending on the thriller bark without warning. This is. Blackbeard was stunned for a few seconds, and a look of crazy joy appeared in the originally stunned expression. What dark fruit can do is not only to invalidate the ability of demon fruit power. After becoming a dark man who eats dark fruit, he will also become extremely sensitive to the energy fluctuations of devil fruit. Originally, during the Whitebeard extermination campaign, I wanted to use the shock fruit energy fluctuation sense overflowing from Whitebeard to capture shock fruits but was ruined by Lei Luo. Judging from the energy fluctuation intensity and distance of the devil fruit that just appeared on the thriller bark, this is definitely a top devil fruit that is not weaker than the Logia lava fruit. There was a look of eagerness in Blackbeard's eyes, but more of it was greed and determination to gain power. He turned over and jumped from the window, his fat body sprinted through the mist, and went straight to the point where devil fruit's energy spread. A few minutes later, in the southwest corner of the thriller bar, a coconut emitting a shining green light appeared in Blackbeard's field of vision. The lines on the coconut were twisted strangely, like human faces, crying, laughing, or angry, or scolded. That's it. That's right. The moment the devil fruit came into view, Blackbeard only felt his heart skip a beat, and he didn't notice that his voice was trembling slightly. That's right, this is what I saw in the Devil Fruit illustrated book at that time, the first chapter of Paramesha Devil Fruit, the second row and the fourth column. Paramesha Creation Class, Soul Fruit. Unexpectedly, this devil fruit was reborn here. Lei Luo, you really did Laozi a big favor. Advertisement. Holding the coconut in one hand, piercing it with one finger, tons. The stench that tasted like poop was poured into his mouth, but what appeared in Blackbeard's eyes was the obsession and madness for this new power. Can feel it. I can clearly feel that my own power is skyrocketing, catching up with Admiral, surpassing Admiral, above Admiral, the second heart that has been empty for a long time has been filled. Putting 2 fat palms together and rubbing them together, a fluorescent group like a firefly appeared in the palm of the hand. So that's how it is, Big Mom's soul fruit, that's what it is, thief ha ha ha. Blackbeard's expression froze, endless black mist gushed out from his left hand, and a huge soul light cluster gushed out from his right hand, merging the black mist in his left hand with the light cluster in his right hand. In just a few breaths, the soul light group completely merged into the black mist, and the black mist seemed to have life, and turned into a illusory black shadow in the shape of a human, half kneeling in front of Blackbeard and saluting. See my lord. Blackbeard's eyes were full of ecstasy, but also sullen. From today onwards, your name will be Erebus. The god of darkness. Yes, Erebus to my lord. With a wave of Blackbeard's hand, the dark phantom Erebos immediately came to life, climbed up along his fat arms, and turned into a black cloak to cover behind him. Thief ha ha ha, with the strength not to lose to Daddy Shock Fruit, Shanks, soon you will know who is the only emperor in this sea. No. Not the only emperor, but the king, One Piece. And you, Lei Luo, thank you for sending the soul fruit to Laozi. You must have never imagined that you killed Bigmom, but I benefited in the end. In order to thank you for helping me so much, Laozi, I decided to capture you alive, and then in front of your face, put your 3 thieves ha ha ha. The charming fox, the 9-snake empress, and the minister of butter, each one is very charming. The incomparably sinister gaze danced in his eyes, and a bolt of lightning, stabbed, down from the sky, illuminating the world for a short time, and dragging the shadow on the ground that was distorted like a devil for a long, long time. Advertisement. Chapter 149. The New World with Different Opinions, meet and strengthen with the captains of the major groups, please subscribe. Advertisement. White Paper Flower Sea Area. The Victoria Punk of Eustace Kid is slowly leaving from the White Paper Flower Sea. Aren't we going to join White Paper Flower, Boss Kid? Hit, who looked like a shriveled zombie, asked. Are you questioning the captain's decision, Hit? The sickle warrior on the side, who is also the vice captain of the pirate group Kira, said coldly. Kid waved at Kira, then threw the newspaper in his hand to Hit, who looked like a shriveled zombie with a look of disdain. Hit and the others spread out the newspaper and glanced at it, then were stunned. 4 emperors armed natural disaster. Lei Luo killed Bigmom on the front foot, occupied the territory of the Charlotte family, married the 18th daughter of the Charlotte family, and then was occupied by Blackbeard. At this time, Kid said, let's wait and see. If Lei Luo really can't even handle this Blackbeard, then it will be difficult for us to succeed in New World with such a person. Let's go, leave the White Paper Flower Sea first. In order not to be wiped out by Lei Luo's enemies who treat him like a white paper flower. At the end of the conversation, Kid said this in a very funny tone, and the members of Kid's pirate group laughed. And on the grudge Astoria of Hawkins, who is also a supernova of the extremely evil generation. Captain Hawkins, are we not going to join the White Paper? Hawkins sat on deck fiddling with his tarot cards as his crew asked. I don't see Lei Luo's future from tarot. Hawkins looked indifferent, and said in a calm tone, let's go. An emperor who can't even look after his own territory is not worth our pursuit. Yes, the same scene also happened on the Euroj, the supernova monster monk of the extremely evil generation, on the jewelry Margarita of the gluttonous girl jewelry Bonnie. Meanwhile, on Lei Luo's destroyer, Fire Fist Ace jumped onto the deck with a newspaper in his face, except for the 3 demons, Marco and others who were in the Sea of 10,000 Kingdoms. All the captains and captains of the White Paper Flower Pirates had already arrived. Captain, you can't ignore the traitor Blackbeard. This guy who betrayed his father and even dared to invade our territory must die. Hanging his head on our White Paper Flower flag for 30 years is his due destiny. Ace waved the newspaper in front of Lei Luo, who was on the throne. If we continue to let Blackbeard go on like this, our prestige of White Paper Flowers will be completely lost. I just received the news that the pirates who were going to join us, such as the strange monk Euroj, the gluttonous woman Bonnie, and the magician Hawkins, all became ambiguous and left by boat. Although their strength is nothing to us, if this continues, people in the group will panic, and it will also damage our reputation. The voice just fell. Captain, this old man is willing to lead the team to destroy that fellow Blackbeard, and show off the prestige of my White Paper Flower Pirates. Hexia Jinbei was the first to stand up. Captain, the Eddie Spider is willing to be the vanguard of the landing operation. Blackbeard has already betrayed his father, we should clean up the door. The Vortex Spider Skayad also expressed his opinion. Yes, Captain, please order. Captain, please grant permission to attack. Captain Lei Luo, you are the majestic 4 emperors, how can you tolerate a Blackbeard screamer? Please order them to be destroyed. An angry voice sounded one after another, obviously they couldn't understand the slander against the White Paper Flower Pirates in the newspaper. But no matter what the subordinates said, Lei Luo seemed to have not heard it, with a calm expression, and even sat on the throne with a bit of joking. A few minutes later, the voices of dissatisfaction gradually faded away, and a few seconds later, the deck of the Ruishan Nuoda was completely silent. Lei Luo then smiled and said, is it all finished? No one said anything. Lei Luo went on to say, I have called you today, 2 things. First, there is a saying called put a long line and catch big fish. According to the information I got, although Blackbeard and his gang have occupied Liquor Island, Blackbeard himself is not on the island, so we can't take down the culprit. It's useless for us to spend our troops to take back Liquor Island. Therefore, we obviously have the ability to raise troops at any time. The power to take Liquor Island will still be able to encircle this island without attacking. Let Blackbeard think we really can't do anything about them, that's the only way to catch the culprit. Advertisement. When Blackbeard is hooked, that's when we'll all be wiped out. After the words fell, all the captains and captains on the deck were stunned, so it was like this. At this time, Ace raised his hand. As Lei Luo's #1 fanboy, he certainly knew that Lei Luo didn't like being interrupted, so he raised his hand before speaking. Speak. Lei Luo glanced at Ace. Ace frowned and said, Captain, it's true that doing this can attract Blackbeard, but it will have a great impact on our reputation and 10 spirits, right? What will the outside world think of our White Paper Flower Pirates? They will think that our flag can't shake people. At the end of the conversation, Ace became more and more confident, but he finally said everything. Lei Luo nodded with a smile. That's the second thing I want to say. I said when I was enthroned that the White Paper Flower is not afraid of any trouble, and anyone who dares to trouble the White Paper Flower will be killed no matter how far away. However, We must have the strength to eliminate all troubles, otherwise the declaration that we will be punished even if we are far away, will become a joke. We conquered the 10,000 nations sea territory, and everyone must have noticed that, in charge of 2 sea areas, our military strength is already a bit stretched. Having said that, Lei Luo deliberately paused, and glanced down. Both the captain and the captain, all lowered their heads and frowned. But anyone with a bit of a brain can see that Bai Zihua is facing the dilemma of insufficient troops. Lei Luo's understatement directly pokes their chests. Jinbei bravely raised his hand, and said after getting Lei Luo's approval, Captain, at this time, shouldn't we take down Blackbeard and show off our prestige? When the prestige tree is up, there will naturally be people from all directions to vote. At that time, the problem of insufficient troops was easily solved. Lei Luo shook his head and said, Jinbei, what I need is not a bunch of rabble. The mob is frightening to look at, but a boatload of elites will be wiped out, and they can't hold their ground at all. Instead of gathering a bunch of unmanageable mobs, it is better to strengthen ourselves. Ace. Lei Luo yelled, and Ace stood up immediately. Inject this thing into your body. Lei Luo took out an emerald potion, didn't explain at all, and Ace didn't ask, just took it and shot it into his body. Immediately afterwards, boom, there was an explosion-like sound from Ace's body, and he was instantly elementalized, turning into a huge white great fireball, and the temperature on the deck suddenly increased. Lei Luo used Armament Haki to protect the hull, but Ace remained silent, as if in a trance. The incandescent fireball stopped expanding after it expanded to 3 meters in diameter, but the surrounding temperature continued to increase. 1500 degrees, 1800 degrees, 2000 degrees. The surrounding air was scorched to the point of wrinkling, and the white flames were gradually changing colors, from white cyan to white blue, to sky blue, still gradually changing to pure blue, and every time the color is darker, the hot temperature will increase by 1 point. The Hexia Jinbei, the big vortex spider Skyad and others widened their eyes in disbelief, the captain of the second squad Ace. His strength is advancing by leaps and bounds. Lei Luo took out another emerald-colored potion, and swept his eyes over everyone, everyone's eyes were focused, and everyone's heart was suspended. It can be seen that Captain Ace's sudden concentration and rising strength are inseparable from the potion given by Captain Lei Luo, so that potion is equivalent to getting the key to a new level of strength. So, who will be the next lucky one called by Captain Lei Luo? Squad. Lei Luo's voice suddenly sounded. Skyad, the captain of the Great Eddy Spider Pirates, was stunned for a moment, as if he had been hit by 100 million Baileys falling from the sky. He came to Lei Luo with a smile on his face, half knelt down, and raised his hands above his head, waiting for the gift. Lei Luo didn't whet his appetite, handed the medicine to him, and said, Your constitution is not as good as Ace, it may be very painful. Skyad's eyes are burning, he is already in his 50s, his own strength has already stagnated, and in the world of pirates, strength is everything. The hope of moving towards a higher level is in front of him, no matter what pain or not it is. Thank you, Captain, for the gift. Skyad is not afraid of suffering. After the words fell, Skyad also injected the potion into his body, and in the next moment, his face twisted visibly with the naked eye, cold sweat leaked from the tip of his nose and forehead instantly, and the clothes on his body were also soaked in this short moment. This feeling was like 1,000 cuts, like 10,000 ants devouring his body, which made him roll around on the deck unceasingly, and the surrounding captains took a few steps back in unison. Gradually, Skyad seemed to get used to this pain, and there were black substances mixed with sweat coming out of the pores. The captains around showed astonished and shocked expressions. I can feel it. It can be clearly felt that Skyad's breath is getting stronger. The strength of the Great Eddy Spider Pirates is generally not strong, and they usually rely on their understanding of the currents in the sea to fight against the enemy. Even the captain of Skyard is only as strong as a marine-like vice admiral, but now, Skyard the strength is heading towards the top group of people in marine vice admiral, such as ghost spiders, flying squirrels, etc. Advertisement. What kind of magic medicine was given by Captain Lei Luo? It can make people so much stronger in a short period of time. You know, whether it is devil fruit or Conqueror's Haki, if you really want to make a qualitative leap in strength, you must accumulate it over time, and it is possible to change 10 steps at a time. So a trace. I've never heard of someone like Captain Lei Luo, whose strength increases after 1 dose of potion. What's more, Skyad is already in his 50s. If strength is a parabola, he has undoubtedly passed the peak and started to go downhill. It is very lucky to be able to stabilize his strength and not fall in this life. But Captain Lei Luo can actually make Skyad's strength even better. This is simply reinvention. Looking at the astonished crowd, Lei Luo took out several emerald potions again, and said, when a person's ambition is far greater than his strength, he is not far from death. If we want to firmly hold the 2 territories of the 10,000 kingdoms and the White Paper Flower Sea region, we must strengthen ourselves. All of you here are the top brass of my White Paper Flower Pirates, humorous. Everyone has a share of the potion, and you can go to Karina to get it later. As soon as the words fell, the eyes of the captain fan and the captains present showed extremely eager and excited expressions. Everyone has a share of this magic medicine. Following the 4 emperors, armed scourge Captain Lei Luo must have been the wisest decision they ever made. In the next second, Lei Luo changed the topic. From now on, the White Paper Flower Pirates will implement a line elimination system. You go. When receiving the potion, you will get 2 standard marks, 1 qualified mark, and 1 eliminated mark. After you go back, step up the training of your subordinates. Once you reach the passing line, you can receive a potion. But if anyone doesn't want to make progress, once you fall to the elimination line, you can only ask you to start from the white line. The paper flower is leaving. Everything that I got from the white paper flower will be confiscated. I can make your strength soar, and I can also bring you back to your original shape. Do you understand everything? Lei Luo's voice was not loud, but it was transmitted to everyone's ears very clearly. These indifferent words are more intimidating than the nine heavens god thunder. Everyone's body trembled violently, and then they replied sonorously and neatly, understood. Lei Luo then nodded. Very good. Brothers, we want to take advantage of the time when the outside world is praising Blackbeard and criticizing us, to raise the strength of the entire Hai de Jiao Jiao bandit group by several levels, and then use. Now that you have been crowned emperor, of course you must have the emperor's face, not only a firmly controlled territory, but also an emperor's teacher. After the meeting, the entire white paper flower pirates were thrown into the wave of strength improvement, even the troops stationed in the seas of 10,000 kingdoms. Whoever can reach the qualifying line will be able to get the opportunity to take your strength to a higher level. Although there are not many people who have reached the qualifying line, not even one person falls below the elimination level, and everyone is desperately climbing up. And Lei Luo added a new one to the original reward system. Those who reach the excellent line can receive 10 pieces of devil fruit weapons that are compatible with themselves. This also makes this. Ace's meditation will end in 3 days. The original white flame no longer exists, and it is all replaced by the deep blue flame. The blue flame has the highest temperature among the many flames. Published. One person is strong, but his subordinates are a bunch of mediocre and stupid generals, called GU. A simple sentence ignites the blood of all the pirates on the deck in an instant, and the silence transforms, only waiting for the moment when the cocoon is broken. With such a reward right in front of your eyes, anyone will practice crazily and strive for it crazily. One of the kind, the terrifying high temperature exceeds 2000 degrees, which is hotter than the hell lava in Akainu Sakazuki. Blackbeard, I'll let you jump for a few more days, and then you'll find that when you thought you were in heaven, you've already stepped into hell with 1 foot. At the level of Lei Luo, these things developed by Floyd have little effect, but they can build him an army of steel armed to the teeth in a short period of time, and consolidate the country. It's as if you can see the glorious moment of conquering the whole world with Captain Lei Luo. The wave of crazy strength improvement became even more crazy. Not only is he strong himself, but he also has a group of elite soldiers and warriors under him, who is the king. Come back to the world with an absolutely powerful and terrifying posture, and make the world tremble and prostrate. Advertisement. Chapter 150. In half a year, the White Paper Flower Patrol team instantly killed Fei Lubao. Please subscribe. Advertisement. Half year later, the edge of the White Paper Flower Sea area. Langba, the captain of the Langba pirates, is leading his subordinates to patrol the vast sea in a pirate ship. It's time for the shift, and the Langba pirates came to the handover point soon. Not long after, the Big Eddy Spider pirates came slowly with the White Paper Flower Skull flag and the Uzumaki Water Pattern Spider Skull flag. In the past 6 months, the various teams and vassal groups of White Paper Flower have been busy improving their strength and breaking through the boundaries, so the way of patrolling the sea has also changed. The thieves take turns guarding a sea area, so that everyone can have enough time to practice and improve their strength. Hey, I said, can't you hurry up, Schoolyard? Seeing the big vortex spider pirates approaching slowly, Langba complained a little depressed. The training time of their pirate team is very precious. After the shift is over, they have to go back to give lessons to their subordinates. As long as he can produce another person who meets the qualification line, he can satisfy what Captain Lei Luo said to give him devil fruit the condition of the weapon. I came here in a pinch, not a minute, not a second, don't even try to take advantage of me. Schoolyard stood boldly on the bow of the ship. Since he broke through the limit with the help of Captain Lei Luo's potion half a year ago, not only has his strength reached the top vice admiral level, but he has also become more alive and younger. Schoolyard himself feels that his current state is not at all like a man in his 50s, but rather like a young man in his 20s. Langba, who was about to retort at Schoolyard, suddenly changed his expression. Somebody is coming. Almost at the same time, the pirate captains of the 2 vassal regiments raised their eyes and looked towards the sea due north, where there was a pirate ship riding the turbulent wind and waves. The shape of the pirate ship is very strange, the bow is a huge horn, and there are 2 super large speakers on the left and right. On the black pirate flag above the mast is a strange symbol of a skull with piano keys in it. Broadcast pirates. Langba and Schoolyard looked at each other, and they both saw 3 points of confusion in each other's eyes, 7 points of confusion. The captain of the radio pirates is exactly the long-handed Apu in the supernova of the extremely evil generation. The pirate supernovas who have entered the new world over the years are the focus of the 4 emperors group. Most of the fresh blood of the 4 emperors group is selected from the pirate supernovas over the years, so the captains of the 2 vassal groups are of course familiar with the broadcast pirates. Group logo. What is this guy doing here? Langba put his hand on the sword unconsciously. Is this guy the only one in the extremely evil generation who has no connection or relationship with us, White Paper Flower? The brows around Langba, whether it is the enthronement ceremony of Captain Lei Luo or the wedding, there are supernovas from the extremely evil generation present, and adding up all the time, this long-handed Apu is the only one. One that never showed up. Come here suddenly at this time, there may be something strange. Schoolyard also reached out to touch the long knife at his waist. Never mind it. It will delay our cultivation time, so we can just retreat, if not, just take it. After a while, Skuyad said with emotion, it can only be said that we have been silent for too long. Captain Lei Luo let us cultivate with peace of mind and not cause trouble. Beasts pirates have been harassing our territory in 10,000 kingdoms, and now it is more interesting. What cats and dogs dare to come to our headquarters? Then let's increase their memory. Langba's eyes were full of bloodthirsty and violent brilliance, and the heads of the invaders can also be used as props to exchange potions and weapons from Captain Lei Luo. And on the pirate ship of the radio pirates. Apu, let me tell you whether you are reliable or not. You have done so many things in the Sea of Nations before, but the other party just drove us away. Seeing that the time given by Governor Kaido is almost up, if there is no gain, you know the consequences. Quote. Peggy Wan, who was wearing a mask and covering his face, with a bunch of purple hair hanging down his forehead, said coldly. Rest assured. Do you think that I let you harass the 10,000 kingdoms for half a year for nothing? Oh, we have already found out that Lei Luo has accumulated a strong force in the 10,000 nations sea region. Then, in turn, his headquarters in the White Paper Flower Sea region must have a defensive force. Emptiness. It is impossible for one emperor to occupy two territories at the same time. Run, wearing a lace mask, was sitting on the side of the boat, shaking his two fair legs. Then what if the troops in their headquarters are stronger than those in Wangguo? No, no, no. Apu shook his extraordinary arm of the long-handed tribe. Don't you look at what the reputation of his white paper flower pirates has become now. He killed Aunt Charlotte on the front foot, married the 18th daughter of the Charlotte family, and was beaten by Blackbeard on the back foot. It's been more than half a year, and he doesn't even dare to fart. Such an emperor, does he still expect someone to follow him? Apu shook his head and said, quite a bit like giving advice. Captain, I found two pirate ships ahead, they are the Eddie Spider and Wolf Ba under the white paper flower pirates. The lookout from the radio pirates came to the three of them and reported to Apu. Runti and Peggy Wan didn't speak, but looked at Apu in unison. Anyway, they came out to be Apu's assistants, and Apu took the lead when something happened. There is no need to interfere with Apu's decision, as long as he obeys the arrangement and contributes when necessary. Advertisement. Wolf Ba and the Great Eddie Spider. There was a sneer at the corner of Apu's mouth, he had heard of both of them. These two were the ones who followed Whitebeard back then, and because of Bai Zihua's current reputation, I am afraid that only these old Whitebeard departments are willing to continue to follow him. However, they can deal with as many of this kind of wine bags and rice bags as they come. Especially the vortex spider Skuyad, who is just a scum who makes a living by overturning sunken ships in a small trench, a boat full of mobs. Even the captain of Skuyad can reach the level of Marine Vice Admiral, and he was still at his peak, but now, if he has 100% of his strength and 70% of his strength is left, it will be regarded as a great blessing for him. Put the megaphone up and give him a little greeting. Apu ordered lightly. Yes. The subordinates immediately went to prepare and adjust the two super large speakers. The speakers on the bow of the ship were aimed at the two pirate ships in the distance like cannons. Cough cough. Apu cleared his throat, and came to the horn loudly. Runti and Peggy Wan quickly covered their ears, this noisy guy was really annoying. Boom. The voice sounded loud and frightening like an explosion. The tyrannical air wave centered on Apu's sustaining music number and spread in all directions extremely rapidly. Boom. Almost at the same time, there was an explosion sound from the two pirate ships opposite. This is the horror of the Apu Paramesha sound fruit. As long as the sound can be transmitted, it will cause real damage to the designated target who hears the sound. Send the boat over there, and arrest these patrolmen for interrogation. The pirates who are the size of the white paper flower headquarters can get some useful information no matter what. Apu ordered his subordinates very casually. For those who did not understand the weakness of his sound fruit, under the sudden attack of sound waves, there was no suspense about the outcome. However, in the next moment, the stammering voice of his subordinates reached Apu's ears. Captain Apu, opposite. When Apu raised his eyes, his pupils shrank sharply. How did this happen? How so? With this distance, through the blessing of the big horn at the bow, the sound waves must be transmitted to the opposite ship, and the two pirate ships are on the verge of collapse. But why is there nothing wrong with the opposite boat? While Runti and Peggy Wan were surprised, there was an interesting look in their eyes. Apu, it seems that your ability is not unsolvable. No, it should be said that the pirates of the White Paper Flower headquarters are indeed much stronger than those who guard the nations. AEFE. Run said. Leave the boat close. Peggy Wan. Let's meet them. Apu stared blankly as if he hadn't heard what the siblings said. He was still immersed in deep self-doubt. How could this be? Take it down unscathed. That is the strongest sonic attack powered by a loudspeaker. It even smashed the Marines' warships. Hey, App. Runti and Peggy Wan urged on. But without waiting for Apu to react, the two pirate ships that were still far apart had already arrived on both sides of the keeping music, pinching them left and right. Runti looked at the hostile pirate ship as if she was looking at a monster. Her beautiful eyes filled with surprise seemed to fall out of their sockets. What happened? When did their boat approach? Why didn't you notice it at all? Equipped with the jet acceleration device produced by Floy, broken ships can be transformed into speedboats. Although it is impossible to configure high-end configurations like Lei Luo's destroyer and Three Demons ghost-faced ships on every ship in the whole regiment, medium configurations if so, it would not be difficult to arm all the pirates under his command. What are the people from the radio pirates doing in the territorial waters of our white paper flower pirates? If they just entered by mistake, they should leave right now, and we don't have to hold them accountable. Holding the sword, Langba said calmly. Today, all the members of the white paper flower pirates are concentrating on cultivation, trying to get a bigger reward from Captain Lei Luo. If they can, they don't want to come while cruising. How can they have time to fight with other pirates? Enmity. Advertisement. Skiyad, the big whirlpool spider, stroked the long knife in his hand, and added, if not, it will be punished as trespassing on the territorial waters of the white paper flower, and it will be killed on the spot. However, as soon as he said this, the people who kept the number on the music number jumped up and down and burst out laughing. If it was Lei Luo himself who said these words, or the double ghosts, 3 demons, etc., then these words can still give people some pressure. But you two mere captains of the vassal regiment, dare to talk to us like this? Are you worthy of talking to us like this? What is a vassal group? To put it simply, the miscellaneous soldiers and cannon fodder who rushed to the front when the war started often represented the bottom of a single level force. And what about them? Apu, the dark son of beasts, and Runti and Peggy Wan, the 2 flying 6 children, are in the upper middle group of beasts pirates in terms of positions. The person with the white paper flower is really arrogant, the mere sea patrol soldiers, but they still keep saying things like, leave immediately and don't hold them accountable, otherwise they will be killed on the spot. No wonder. The 4 emperors, armed natural disaster Lei Luo is powerful, but now he has fallen into a gentle village. He has long since lost the courage to challenge Admiral and kill the 4 emperors. Blackbeard has been rooted in his territory for so long. If these subordinates don't barking a few times, I'm afraid this closed by the paper flower pirate is about to break up. Snort. Runti snorted coldly. What's wrong with the white paper flower pirates? Why are people with a broken mind released to patrol the sea? Does it mean that no one under their command is available? The younger brother Peggy Wan smiled. Look at the expressions of these 2 guys, they are so serious, so serious. I'm so scared, sister. Peggy Wan said exaggeratedly, then changed the topic, raised his arms sideways, and pointed at Langba and Skiyad on the left and right at the same time in a very weird posture. If the paper flower pirates are all like you, then go back and tell your boss Lei Luo that we have taken this territory. The face of the big vortex spider Skiyad instantly turned cold, and he waved his hand to the subordinates behind him. All armed, the battle ends in 10 seconds. Langba also waved his hands at the subordinates behind him, and said 2 words coldly, 8 seconds. Then give it a try. You bastards. Peggy Wan and Runti started at the same time, and the siblings used their full animal form in unison. Peggy Wan turned into a spiny-backed dragon and set his sights on the swollen-headed dragon that Run was changing in Squad City. This instant, the faces of Langba and Skuyad were so gloomy that they could drip water. Puffy-headed dragon and spiny-backed dragon. Are you the ones who have repeatedly harassed my Baizihua's 10,000 kingdoms sea area? So what? His Majesty Lei Luo ordered that anyone who offends me with white paper flowers will be punished. Runti and Peggy Wan lost their balance almost at the same time, the 2 dragons staggered back under the impact of the huge slash, and passed each other again. The second of the beast's pirates flying 6 cells, under the 3 disasters, their biggest prophet is the Peggy Wan sister and brother. Was given a second by the 2 cannon fodder of the white paper flower pirates. The whole process takes less than 2 seconds. Hiss. The 2 shot almost at the same time, and Armament Haki's knife tip covered the pitch black and slashed fiercely at the dragon's tail and head. A one-shot kill without suspense, completely powerless to fight back. Plop. The sound of metal and iron fighting suddenly sounded, followed by pull. Clang. It was the sound of metal sharp objects sinking into flesh and blood gurgling down. Brothers Runti and Peggy Wan, who repeatedly attacked the waters of the 10,000 kingdoms and escaped unscathed. The eyes of the 2 vassal captains were filled with tyranny and bloodlust, then stay forever. At the same time as the voice sounded, Peggy Wan flicked his tail, Runti shook his head, and rushed towards the pirate ship of Langba and Syad at the same time. Everyone in the radio pirates, including Apu, was stunned. How is this possible? Brothers and sisters Runti and Peggy Wan, who are also extremely rare Zone Dragon Fruit ancient ability users. After all, it fell into the sea, and sank. Advertisement.